The Dayton City Commission meeting will now come to order. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. This evening, the invocation will be given by Commissioner Shaw.
Dear God, may the freedom you give us be used wisely, so that what we seek will be for the good of all. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Blackshear, may I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph. Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the August 13th meeting?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second motion, Your Honor.
It's been probably moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the August 13th meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay. Blackshear, do we have any communications or petitions?
There are none, Your Honor.
Okay. I know we do have a presentation this evening, so I'd like to invite Mr. Sidney Billingsley to the podium along with the Reverend Daria Dillard-Stone this evening. And Ms. Billingsley will be receiving a proclamation for her exemplary deed of heroism. Hello.
From the Office of the Mayor, the City of Dayton, Ohio. Whereas we, the neighbors, family, and friends of Sidney Billingsley, our postal worker, acknowledge the exemplary deed of heroism she showed on June 8, 2025, by helping to save the life of Antonio Anderson, one of the customers she delivers to. I, Reverend Daria Dillard-Stone, the servant, would like to pause to show love and appreciation for her big heart of compassion. There are still good people amongst us, no matter what people do or don't do. The blood of Jesus covers us all, and the blood still works. And whereas Sidney Billingsley took the time to call 911 while she administered first aid to the wounds he sustained, showing herself to be a citizen who cares about all human beings regardless of creed or color, this group, or zip code, everybody is everybody. Her heart is pure, and she is a genuine, caring soul. The story was shared on WDTN by young reporter James Jackson, who did a good job telling people how to care for each other. Now, therefore, I, Jeffrey J. Mims Jr., Mayor of the City of Dayton, Ohio, do hereby proclaim August 20th, 2025 as Miss Sidney Billingsley Day in Dayton, Ohio. And it is
Get it, baby.
it's signed by the mayor and is fixed with the city seal.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Dillard-Stone, would you please explain the circumstances around the proclamation?
On that day, a young man was shot 8 times, and one of the bullets entered my home, and I had missed the bullet by like 20 minutes, and it missed my head. Miss Billingsley was delivering the mail, heard him say help, and because she had had some training in first aid, I think you had trained to be a fireman. Mm-hmm. She knew, she put her hand on one, leg on another, and 3 places, and was able to put pressure on 3 of the wounds. That saved his life. He had 8 bullets in him. That young man is still alive. He's rehab.
Yes.
This is his cousin. This is my brother who's dating his cousin.
Okay. got the whole family
It's
tree?
a family affair.
Family affair.
Yeah.
Good.
And I just thought, we cannot let that go undone like it was just one everyday thing that just happened. She could have said, ain't none of my business. But she saw something, she said something, and she did something. And she saved a life.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say thank you. The neighbors, we all thought, you know what? I never knew her name till that happened. She was just the mail lady. But when you look at people and you get to know people, you know that people care about other people. And I know for a fact that he's alive. And that means God's got something for him to do, because you don't live and survive 8 bullets without a mission. There's a mission for him to do. So I thank you for seeing the magnitude of the importance of that life, to recognize that citizen and to recognize the citizen that saved that citizen.
Okay, and thank you for the call. So if you would just hold on, I think we'd like to come down and get a handshake or a hug or something. The aspect of seeing you save someone's life, that's very important for us.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. They're going to come down and hug us. I hope somebody takes some pictures so I have to. Okay.
You've been on TV before.
Oh, it's a hug the mayor. Thank you so much.
Thanks for bringing that forward. It was important.
Congratulations. I hope everything works out.
It does. It does. It does. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Hope things go well. Excellent. Good. Congratulations to you.
They're going to,
Yes.
Matt, they're going to get a picture. Tony.
My buddy here. How you want us to be? Valletta, thank you for making it happen. I want to acknowledge you. You're behind the scenes, but thank you, baby. Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Okay, back to business. Ms. Blackshear, are any additions, deletions, or comments to the calendar?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to request the addition of legislation pertaining to the public hearings at the desire of the commission, and I would like to also request the addition of emergency resolution number 6883-25, resolution declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of placing the hospital levy on the ballot in accordance with the City of Dayton Charter and declaring an emergency.
Okay,
That's all I have, Your Honor.
all right. So, Ms. Dixon, additions, deletions, or comments to the calendar?
Your Honor, I have no additions or deletions to this evening's calendar. I have a couple of items to highlight. One is items C, 5, and 6, revenue to the city. of $75,000 each. These are service agreements with Dayton Public Schools, Dayton Board of Education for our support to the first responder career tech programs that we provide instruction to in hopes of being able to diversify our police and fire departments. In regards to Emergency Resolution 6883-25, I'd like to call forward Barbara Dosek, our Law Director, to walk through a brief summary of the resolution for you.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager, and Clerk, as indicated by the City Manager, Barb Dosek,
Good
Director
evening.
of Law. Before you and added to the calendar this evening is a resolution of necessity. This is in reference to the citizen-initiated petition for a municipal hospital. As you recall, there was a citizen-initiated petition asking voters to increase their property taxes to fund a city-run hospital. As you're aware, a majority of the commission did not vote in favor of the proposal, and it failed on a 2-2 vote on July 23rd, 2025. Our charter does provide the ability and opportunity for citizens to obtain an additional 1,250 signatures. They do have to be new signatures, which means they cannot be individuals who have signed the previous petitions. If those signatures are obtained within 20 days, the charter is clear, the initiative shall go to the ballot. So after the vote on the 23rd, the Clergy Community Coalition did pass additional petitions. We just learned from the Board of Elections they were successful in obtaining an additional 1,250 signatures. So what happens now? We know that the issue must go forward to the voters. Unfortunately, the charter does not provide any additional procedural steps. However, we do know that the initiative petition requires a property tax levy. Again, we're seeking to increase property taxes, and therefore Revised Code Chapter 5705 would control. That chapter of the Revised Code requires a host of technical requirements prior to this being able to go to the ballot. Before you this evening is that first requirement, the resolution of necessity. What that resolution does is direct the county auditor to create a certificate of estimated property tax revenue. We direct the auditor to do that because we're asking for an additional mill over a 10-year period. The auditor certifies that to us. We then provide, we must accept, the certified copy at a commission meeting. So we pass this resolution this evening, direct the county auditor to create the report. Once we receive the report, we have to accept it at a commission meeting, and then we have to, at that point in time, pass a resolution to proceed, which I would recommend we do next week because of the timeline. That resolution to proceed goes to the Board of Election and is what actually places it on the ballot. It's before you this evening as an emergency because of the tight timeline. We do not have additional time. The charter provides that anything can be certified prior to a general election by 60 days, which for the November 4th election takes us to September 3rd. So we need to pass both this resolution of necessity and the resolution to proceed prior to the September 3rd date, which is why it's before you this evening as an emergency. Because the charter was not clear, because we've not done this before, I want to first highlight two things. My staff, because we've turned this around in about 24 hours, so specifically John Musto and Alyssa Schreiner were rock stars for us to be able to get this done. I also want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the Board of Elections and the county auditor because they were very helpful in helping us get this and actually reviewed the resolution prior to me presenting it to you this evening.
Okay.
A lot of information. Questions?
Right. So if I can do it very briefly, maybe the Cliff Note version.
Okay.
So the county, as well as the county auditor,
Yes.
as well as the Board of Elections, they require this document to be certified by determining how much money is going to cost a citizen should they vote yes.
Yes.
And
So the auditor's office requires the resolution of necessity directing them to create the certified report. The Board of Election requires that we present both the resolution of necessity, the certified report, and then the resolution to proceed to them prior to them placing it on the ballot. So yes, you're right, with
Right.
the additional things as well.
Okay. So it just makes it clear for those who are voting.
Yes, the
Okay.
amount that would be collected, because again, this is a property tax increase outside of the 10 millage that were permitted,
Okay.
which is why
And-
they have to vote for the increase.
Right, any additional questions, Commissioners? Commissioner Turner-Sloss?
Yes, could you tell, just for clarification, the estimated amount per property tax for the 10 mil?
That is what
For
we
the
will be
10
getting from the auditor.
That's what they're
From the
going to do.
auditor.
I will tell you, and
But it's
again.
estimated to be
I-
around, go ahead, please.
Yes, okay. I will be
There is
very
a-
frank with you. As the lawyer, I often don't play in numbers, but I will tell you, our rough estimate at 100% collection is roughly about $2 million annually.
2 million.
But we will wait for the certified report from the auditor, which will establish what that amount is.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Fairchild, questions? You good?
Abstain.
Oh, that's right. Commissioner Shaw? Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so, Mrs. Blackshear, do we have any citizens who are registered to speak on the city manager's recommendations?
None on the city manager's
Okay.
recommendations.
Commissioners, questions on the city manager's recommendations?
I do have a
Okay, Mr.
question.
Turner-Sloss?
When was this resolution readily made for the commission review? Was it, when did you have this readily? Yes, ma'am, excuse me. Because I know you're under some time constraints.
Real tight timeline. When we heard from the Board of Elections that they received the appropriate signatures, and then we received the report from the Board of Elections indicating that they were new signatures because we had to make sure that it was aligned with the charter requirements, we then began the process of determining how it gets to the ballot. And so yesterday we realized that we needed to pass this resolution. When we put it on the calendar and realized how little time we had, we realized it had to go this evening as an emergency. I can say that I made contact with Commission yesterday, and also I shared the resolution today. I will share, we had to have both the county auditor and the Board of Elections review that resolution before I put it in front of you, because if there were technical issues, I wanted to make sure
Right.
they were resolved. So I believe you all received I know you received a copy from me in your mailbox. I don't remember when, I
Okay.
apologize.
Okay, no, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You good?
Yes, I do have another question in regards to, just clarification, and I believe it is very clear, but again, the contract modification for the service agreement, just highlighting the work that is being done by the Dayton Recovery Plan, and that's just for to expand the services, right, for the community space, noting that, and I think, Ms. Dixon, you may have mentioned this, and I apologize if you did, but this is not any additional funding that is being allocated to.
There's no additional funding. There are some funding allocation within the project changes.
Right.
And the biggest thing is that they had planned, Five Rivers Health Centers had planned to build a new multipurpose community center, new construction. Because of escalating costs, they had to modify their plans and renovate an existing space. So there was change within the allocation of the project budget and an extension to the project timeline, which is why the modification is before you.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good?
Yes.
Okay. So may I have a motion then to approve the city manager's recommendations?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the city manager's recommendations. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. So legislation, Ms. Blackshear.
First reading, emergency resolution number 6881-25, authorizing a First Amendment to the 2017 amended and restated Miami Township Dayton Joint Economic Development District contract and related ancillary actions and declaring an emergency.
Your Honor, resolution number 6881-25 being declared an emergency. I move for its immediate passage.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to declare resolution number 6881-25 as an emergency. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay.
Second reading, emergency resolution number 6881-25, authorizing a First Amendment to the 2017 amended and restated Miami Township Dayton Joint Economic Development District contract and related ancillary actions. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
First reading resolution number 6882-25, approving the submission of grant applications to the District 4, Montgomery County, Ohio, Public Works Commission Integrating Committee, authorizing the acceptance of grant awards from the State of Ohio Public Works Commission for the State Issue 1 program for public capital infrastructure improvements in an amount not to exceed $3,889,286.00 on behalf of the City of Dayton. Second reading resolution number 6879-25, declaring the intention to appropriate real property interests in parcels 98T and 117T in connection with the Salem Avenue Reconstruction Phase 4 project. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Second reading resolution number 6880-25, declaring the intention to appropriate real property interests in parcels 13SH and 25T in connection with the Finley Street reconstruction project. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Informal resolution number 1014-25, supporting and protecting the neighborhood Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid offices.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, I move for immediate approval of informal resolution number 1014-25.
Thank you. Second, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to approve informal resolution number 1014-25. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Thank you.
And for the item that was added, first reading resolution number 6883-25, resolution declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of placing the hospital levy on the ballot in accordance with the City of Dayton, Charter and declaring an emergency.
That's it.
Okay.
Well, I'll do it. Being declared an emergency, I move for the immediate passage of resolution number 6883-25.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded. A little slow, but it's moved and seconded. For resolution number 6883-25 to be declared an emergency. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no.
Abstain.
Okay.
Second reading resolution number 6883-25, resolution declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of placing the hospital levy on the ballot in accordance with the City of Dayton Charter. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Abstain.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
That concludes the legislation, Your Honor.
Okay. So we do have a public hearing. Okay, Mr. Dixon. please
Yes, Your
continue.
Honor. At this time, I'd like to call forward Jen Hanauer, who will lead us through our zoning map amendment case.
Hello,
Hello.
Hello.
Evening.
I'm Jen Hanauer, a member of the planning staff, bringing you two cases this evening from our city plan board. They are both plan development cases. Plan developments add an overlay onto our zoning map, allowing for uses that wouldn't typically be allowed in a zoning area. So we have two tonight from Express Wash Concepts. Both are for Flying Ace car washes, one that would be located at 2922 Linden Avenue, in the Linden Heights Planning District, and the other at 1158 Wilmington Avenue, that one in the Belmont Planning District, right there at Wilmington and Patterson. That application had also included an application for a final plan approval. So you're hearing these together tonight because they are so similar, but there are some very important differences between the two. So we'll go through one, let you make a decision on that, and then move on to the second one. Both locations are former Rite Aid pharmacies. Express Wash Concepts can go in and has a plan for adaptively reusing these former Rite Aids, adaptively reusing the buildings that are existing on the properties. Staff has visited Express Wash Concepts in Ohio and in Michigan, and has also talked to Express Wash Concepts, the municipalities that they're in Pennsylvania, to try to understand a little better how this kind of more neighborhood model works. Like, I'm sure you're familiar with Flying Ace car washes. We have lots of them in the Miami Valley, but none that are specifically set up like this, meaning that they're adjacent to residential uses. You tend to see them in bigger parking lots, like in a Meijer parking lot, or somewhere where there's some room around it. So these are kind of unique in that they're so close to residential uses. And because car washes generate noise and they're a more auto-oriented service, they're not typically permitted in our neighborhood commercial districts. And both of these areas are zoned E and C, eclectic neighborhood commercial. So that's why the plan development approval is needed. Okay, so we'll talk about the first one on Linden. Again, this is an application from Express Wash Concepts. The area is zoned E and C. It's in Linden Heights, so our southeast land use area. And currently the property is a former Rite Aid. I believe it has a food truck in the parking lot right now that's operating. So this is the zoning. The pink that you see is that E and C eclectic neighborhood commercial that I was talking about. The property is currently composed of several parcels. They would need to combine those before moving forward with development. You can see that it's very close to that corner of Linden and Smithville. That it's very auto-heavy corridor there, because you can just see it on the map. US 35 kind of runs parallel just north of there. It does back up to residential, however. We have some EMF, which is eclectic multifamily, and some ER4, which is eclectic single family. And there are some single family homes in that EMF district. So this is an oblique view. This is actually looking south at the property, but I wanted you to be able to see how it does back up to those residential uses. You can see those big multifamily buildings, but then there are also a couple of single-family homes. That gas station on the corner on the left there is that Shell station. Just trying to orient you to where we're talking about. So this is the concept plan. So Linden runs along the top of your screen there. And there are other unique things about these Flying Ace car wash concepts as well. As you can see, cars would queue up on the south side of the property in those lanes. They would go through their kiosk. They would enter the building from the right or the east side there. They'd go through the car wash and then exit the building. Then they'd have the option to either go to the vacuums that are outdoors there along Linden, or to return back into the building and go to some vacuums that they have inside. That facilitates people being able to use their car wash in kind of a more year-round sense in our particular climate zone. Most of the landscaping is proposed to stay, including some of those mature trees between the property and the residential uses to the south. They are proposing to close the curb cut along Linden that is closest to Smithville. That we like that. That would help with traffic flow and reduce some of the vehicle pedestrian interactions that could happen there. This is on the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission's list of accident-heavy corridors. I think it's number 20 on their list. So special attention would need to be paid to traffic and how it would affect the safety in the area. So this just kind of an overview. Already gone over a lot of this. What's most important about this is the size of the building, the size of the land it's on. It's almost 2 acres. It's almost an 11,000 square foot building. This has left a big hole. Rite Aid leaving has left a big vacant property right in the middle of a very busy corridor, and this would propose to revitalize that. Location hours are generally 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Sundays, slightly reduced hours in the winter. So unique to this area, it has always been a commercial development since the electrification of the streetcar we're bringing people out here. You know, the buildings that front on Linden have been commercial structures. It hasn't always looked like this. It wasn't always a Rite Aid, but this has been a very commercial corridor, and there are a lot of heavy auto uses on this corridor, despite it being zoned E and C. There, you know, are several gas stations, mechanics, there's a Quick and Cold, several restaurants and retail locations. So this is, which is not very typical for E and C. So if you're wondering what might be permitted in E and C by right, you know, some other uses that can go in here, maybe a car wash isn't the only option. You know, you could put a bank in here. You could put professional and medical offices, an indoor and outdoor restaurant, a retail establishment. Recently, in East Dayton, a Rite Aid's been repurposed as a market. So there are some options that wouldn't require this kind of zoning change to accommodate. Now, that said, there are some zoning districts that Dayton allows car washes. In our general commercial, so that's a slightly more intense use than our neighborhood commercial, and in our industrial areas, we do allow car washes. And if this area were zoned general commercial, it would actually meet all of our criteria for a car wash, being that it's on a property that's bigger than an acre, it's along an arterial or a collector street. So things like that, if it were zoned differently, it would meet those requirements. So because this is a planned development, it has planned development standards. Most of them are kind of boilerplate, but I've highlighted the ones that would be specific to this planned development under permitted uses, all of the E and C permitted uses with the addition of car washes. Maximum lot coverage of 65%. So lot coverage being, you know, that impermeable surface, that paved, the roofs. Typically, we would allow up to 100% in our commercially zoned areas, but in this case, they have 65% lot coverage, and we'd like to keep it to that so that it would blend more into the neighborhood with that landscaping and the trees that are existing and that kind of thing. Vehicle parking, we would want a minimum of the 40 off-street parking spaces as they show on the plan. It does have those big pylon signs, and we would want that removed and replaced with a monument sign as stipulated in the zoning code that would be permitted in this kind of zoning district. Landscaping and design provisions. Basically, we'd want to bulk up the screening that would be required between this heavy auto use and the residential uses to the south. Some of the other locations I visited did have a privacy fence between the car wash and the residential uses. The ones I saw were, you know, like a vinyl and didn't do too much to reduce the sound. So what we are proposing is that we would require a 6-foot-high masonry wall because masonry reduces that sound so much better than vinyl does. So this has been a public process. The applicant visited the Linden Heights Community Council. They had a lot of good questions there. The general feedback from Linden Heights seems to be that they would like to see this space activated. They would like to see a business in there. They would prefer one that didn't sell alcohol, so a car wash kind of fits the bill for them. They do have some concerns about noise and traffic. Similar conversation at Southeast Land Use Board. We had some members of the community come there, and there was a lot of focus on traffic and how this might affect the safety in the area. But ultimately, the Land Use Board voted unanimously to recommend approval, citing the huge investment that would happen right here. And then, as I said, I did visit other municipalities. I heard just across the board, every municipality I talked to, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Toledo, Detroit, everybody said that Express Wash Concepts has been a great neighbor. Their properties are immaculate. They don't get complaints about them. However, the properties that I did go to and stand in the yards with the people who live next door to these said that they were too loud, that it has affected their quality of life and they believe affected their property values. So while all of the properties were absolutely immaculate, there is that to consider for those who live right next door. For this case, Plan Board recommended approval and a unanimous vote. So for this one, these are your decision options. I know it's a little unusual this evening because it'll be slightly different for the second case that you're going to hear. And I believe you've been kind of briefed on these options that we have here for you. But if you determine to proceed with the first reading for approval in accordance with Plan Board recommendation, that would require 3 votes. You can determine not to proceed with the first reading, which would also require 3 votes, or you can remand the application to Plan Board for additional considerations, and that would require 3 votes. I'm happy to answer questions on this one. We do also have a representative for the applicant here who could answer questions for you. So.
Okay, so before we have the commissioners ask questions, any citizens have to speak? Ms. Blackshear?
There's one citizen who has registered.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
would like to state that there is a 3-minute time limit. As you address the commission, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. At that time, I will turn on the green light. When the green light comes on, you will have 3 minutes to speak. After you have spoken 2.5 minutes, a yellow light will come on. You will have 30 seconds remaining to speak. When the red light comes on, you will be asked to cease your comments and to take your seat. To the audience in attendance, please be mindful this is a business meeting, and we kindly request that during this portion of the meeting, you refrain from any hand clapping, finger snapping, and conversations that will prevent the City Commission from hearing the speaker's comments. I call to the podium Gerald McDonald. Name and address for a record.
Gerald McDonald, 40 North Main Street, Suites 2700 in Dayton, 45232. Sorry, 45423. Can't even figure that one out. I am the attorney for the applicant. I'm sorry?
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. I just wanted to highlight a couple things that Ms. Hanauer said. We are going to be making a $3 to $4 million investment in this. And while there are other uses potentially, as brought up in the Southeast Land Use Plan Board, there's not a lot of people going to put that much money in this location. And it not only is it good money, but as stated, it is with a quality company that has an impeccable record of maintaining its properties. It was agreed that even though this is an ENC, this site is not pedestrian-oriented. The Plan Board, all boards said that. Notwithstanding that, we're doing our best to make it friendly. Along Linden, we are going to be putting landscaping the entire length. There's a 5-foot strip. We are getting rid of one of the curb cuts. That's going to be all landscaped. In the back, landscaped. The Plan Board had mentioned the wall on the western side, and we're all for that. We would prefer to put landscaping, again, try to make this more green. The wall on the south side, that is something that I noticed popped up in here, but it wasn't in the previous discussions. If we have to do that, we would, but we're trying to avoid this sea of concrete and blacktop and make this more of, with trees, mature trees, and make it a much more pleasing spot. I'm sorry, I was a little thrown with the 3 minutes. I apologize. With respect to any traffic issues, if the Plan Board thinks we need a traffic study, and my experience is they probably will, we'll get the traffic study. We will adhere by those recommendations, and that just makes sense. So that's not too much of an issue. Another one that kind of threw me a little bit was the pylon signs. All the boards, everyone we talked to along the way up said that they didn't mind the pylon signs because that's where they were. We'd prefer to keep them. If this commission says we want to see them go, that's fine. But I just wanted to put it out there. That was kind of news to us coming in here tonight. I just respectfully ask that you guys consider this and hopefully have a positive vote. We do have one of our officers of the company if you have any specific questions about our operations.
Okay, thank you. Questions, Commissioners? Commissioner Turner-Sloss?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I apologize.
McDonald, like the
McDonald,
hamburgers.
yes, thank you. I thought so. I have that written down. Just a couple of questions. The first is, in fact, what is I know that Ms. Hanover mentioned a number of other cities and municipalities in which the operations exist. Could you tell us what is the longest standing operations that you have in any of the locations that were mentioned?
I'm going to have my cohort here answer that.
Okay.
But I do want to say that the Rite Aid conversions, that's relatively new, and I believe there's only 3 right now. They have plenty of the other existing locations, but Joe, if you wanted to come up. You have to state your name.
Good evening. Joe Bertucci, 13375 National Road Southwest, Etna, Ohio, 43068. Our oldest location, well, we've converted a former, I want to misspeak, CVS. That was before my time, so that was about 8 years ago, roughly. And in the Pittsburgh market, which city staff referenced, East McKeesport was our first location. It's approximately, it's called 4.5 years now, 4 years, right around that time. That was the first Rite Aid that I converted in the Pittsburgh market. And we have many more actually coming in Detroit. So it's a model that has worked out very well in the northern Midwest markets.
Okay.
Car washes in general.
I'm sorry?
Just car washes in general, how long in business?
Oh, yeah. Express Wash concept started in 2008. We are very, very blessed to have 123 locations throughout 5 different states, 12 here for the Flying Ace in the Dayton market. Car washes is all we do. We don't do any other development. We live and breathe by car washes, so we have to make sure we do that well. Hopefully you've seen that we've been voted best car wash, best employers in the markets that we operate. We take a lot of pride in our operations. It's very easy to build a car wash. It is very difficult to maintain it and keep customer standards, and that is where we focus day in and day out. Our employees are on site at every hour that we are open. We secret shop them because they are held to a standard that is, we call it Disney-esque. We want our customers to pull onto the site and feel good. That's why we over-landscape. We want our customers to feel good. We want our employees to interact with them, get to know their names, their kids' names, their dogs. We hand out treats, and all these things seem very minor, but they're very important, and that's why we have a very high retention rate of membership. It's a membership model. So this, you can visit any location, whether you're in Pittsburgh, Dayton, visit any location. It's under the Express Wash brand. The focus is on operations, and we would bring life to a site like this, and we've done it before. The change is absolutely astonishing. It is amazing, and I know that I work for the company, but when you see it before and after, and then you see the interactions and the staff that we hire between 12 and 17 employees on a site, and we hire locally. Whenever we open, our grand opening is donated to a local charity, hyper-local, that directly affects the communities that we operate. And that's on an ongoing basis. We have towel sales, air freshener sales. And I say all that not as a sales pitch, but we become entrenched in the communities. And so we realize we are surrounded by neighbors, and we become a neighbor, not just a business that operates and makes money. We give back a substantial amount to those local charities, nonprofits, especially for the youth. If we can help change the course of a life, that is what drives our owner. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ask you a
Just a
question?
couple more questions. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you providing a little bit more context and background and speaking to your commitment. The 12 to 15 jobs, I understand that Mr. McDonald mentioned that it will be a $3 to $4 million investment. What is the hourly rate of the 12 to 15 jobs that will in fact be committed to this site?
That is a great question. You're talking to the real estate guy. So
Okay.
I don't
All
want to
right. Very
misquote a number, and then operations comes in, so I apologize.
Oh, no worries.
I can get you that information. I don't want to quote it on the record
That's
incorrectly.
fair. Thank you. And then,
It's very competitive, and it's also incentivized.
all right.
Highly
that's-
highly incentivized, and there's also, with a 123 location company and growing, there is room to move up within the company.
Okay, great, thank you. So Ms. Hanover mentioned the concerns that there were, in fact, testaments, or testimonies, rather, that alluded to that Express Car Wash has, in fact, been a good neighbor, a good partner, and seen the investment. But just curious, how, in fact, are you all addressing, or what levels of adjustments are you all willing to make in terms of adhering or mitigating the noise complaints and addressing the traffic, like just some of your past practices that you all have instituted in some of those other areas? Because to your point, right, this is a more unique site, it's more surrounded by residential homes. And so how are some things that you have done, or what are some things you have done in the past to help mitigate those concerns?
Jumping the gun a little bit, but as to the next one, there is a concern in particular with a couple neighbors that are directly across the street, so on the front line type of thing. We had proposed moving the entrance to adjust for that, because the owner said, let's try that. They still weren't too happy, because in their minds, we're just shifting it into front of somebody else's house. We are also willing to redesign so that the exit that they were talking about goes away completely, in that the cars are interior all the way around, so that on that side where they were concerned with the noise would be eliminated.
Okay.
So that is what this company does.
Okay, okay, thank you.
And if I could just address this site specifically.
Yes.
We have offered to install the wall.
Okay, thank you.
On the
masonry
west
wall.
end. I'm not sure that the entire southern property is necessary, because the actual building acts as a sound barrier, and there's very beautiful mature trees that are 3/4 of the way up that we don't want to touch. We would absolutely prune them to make sure they look nice, but definitely a portion of the southern property, which I know exactly what the city staff is speaking of, there's an open space after the mature trees, and almost like an L shape, and have a nice masonry wall with landscaping in addition, because that also acts as a sound buffer, so you don't get the bounce back as well. So we're very nimble. We do want to work with our neighbors, so we're able to do that.
Thank you for that flexibility, and I appreciate you foot stomping that point, so thank you. That's all the questions I have. Thank
Okay.
you
Thank
for the owners and operator, though, as well as the attorney, but I do have questions for Ms. Hanover. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Fairchild.
I correctly understand that this maintains the building that's there? And okay,
Correct.
that's awesome. I guess I have a question for Ms. Hanover. It doesn't seem like there's been a coming to minds around all of the items within the plan. If we approve it tonight, is there still the opportunity for you to negotiate those items, or do we set the plan tonight?
If the plan development is approved, they would return to Plan Board to have their final plan approved. So that would address a lot of the details in there.
Okay. I'm curious about the decibel level, because if I understood the presentation correctly, residents who live around one of the properties talk about the noise and the impact on their quality of life. Do we know there's ways to measure decibel level? Do we know what that decibel level is and what it's comparable? And what are the hours of operations again?
The hour operations, I'll
7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Saturday, 8 to 8 on Sunday, and sometimes reduced hours in the winter months of 9 to 6.
Okay.
And with respect to the decibel levels, yes, we have measurements. I have a handout again for the next one. But basically, the blowers have a decibel level that goes out around 80 feet, then it starts to drop to where the ambient is. There are also the vacuums themselves, which tend not to go off the property line. The city has a code that requires a certain decibel level at a property line, and if we exceed that, city's going to knock on our door and give us a ticket. So there's the blower, that's one of the big things, and we'll talk about that more next time. But that goes out, in this particular case, this faces a building for the most part, because there's another building right there. Then there's a little bit of a space on the west where it's open, and that is where the wall and the landscaping that we've been talking about would come in to buffer that. But by the time it gets to the first residential home, it's going to be fairly low, and we do have a graphic with measurements on that. And the other thing is the correlator, which operates all the vacuums, and we are moving that up towards Linden, and that too has about I think it's 70 feet or something like that, where the noise level starts to drop to below what Dayton would normally allow at the property line. And so we would be consistent with all of that.
I look forward to the presentation. Those are all my questions.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw?
Yeah, I don't think you have the answer to this now because Commissioner Turner-Sloss asked for the hourly rate. What I'm interested in is the projected payroll for the site. $3.5 million investment is one thing, but what a municipality is interested in is the income taxes. So
that's right, and this site, I think, it was going to be between 13 and 16 employees. For the most part, there is always a minimum, and you correct me if I'm wrong, 3 employees working at any given time. They're full-time. They work it's not seasonal. They work throughout the entire year. Again, that is the building of the employment, of the team building, trying to get people to stay and things like that. Those figures, I didn't have my whole file. I may have them in my notes, and we'll be able to look for them really quick, because I know that we talked about it at another meeting. I just don't remember what they are off the top of my head.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, Commissioner Joseph?
No questions right now. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. All right, we're good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor.
You have another question?
Yes, from Ms. Hanover. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I think I lost track of my question. Could you speak to, and I believe I know this answer, but just in doing your review and your vetting, could you speak to if in fact we have any machine operating car washes within the Dayton area? I know we do have one more so that abuts the Huber Heights area in Dayton. Many of my colleagues and I attended a grand opening for that. But could you speak to how many we actually have in the Dayton area?
Unfortunately, no. I can't speak to how many we have in the Dayton area. I do know that we have some, but I could definitely get that for you.
Okay, just out of curiosity.
Sure.
And then in terms of some of the concerns that some of the neighbors have posed thus far in terms of noise complaints or concerns of noise, is there an appetite to a CBA, a community benefits agreement, or a good neighbor agreement, whatever have you? It sounds like the operator that may be something that they will entertain.
We haven't talked about that. We could certainly talk about that during the final plan process if it gets to that point. I will say to the noise complaints that I've heard from residents in other municipalities whose houses are right next to a car wash like this, when I was standing in their yard, those cities also had, decibel levels that they need to stay below, and I'm certain that they were staying below that. The noise that was more of a problem was the noise that came
from the truck
that was outside of their control. So they have their own music that plays at a very reasonable level on their properties, but some people, when they get their car washed and then they're doing their vacuuming, they want to blast their own music. So that could be very loud, and the Flying Ace wouldn't have much control over that aside from asking them to turn it down. But I also heard, like when a rock or something gets stuck in your vacuum and it'll make kind of a high-pitched sound. I heard that as well, and I saw a very unhappy dog trying to get very far away from that sound. But so there were things like that while they maintain their properties and are able to stay in control of the things that they have control over, there are those kind of things that were happening that were kind of affecting the noise levels in the neighborhood. So,
But to the Express Car Wash, they do have signage that prohibits loud music and all of those various things that will be a nuisance or a disturbance, right? I would assume
I actually
there's
didn't
certain
see
things
those,
that
but
they have in place to address those concerns.
sure. I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't recall seeing those, but I bet you would know better.
No worries. Thank you.
Those signs are not standard.
Okay.
However, that sign can be made
All right, very
and
good.
installed. That is very easy. We have no loitering policy.
Yes.
You should be there to vacuum your vehicle, have your car cleaned, and then go about your day.
Okay.
We do train our staff that if there is loud music, and it's hard for me to control that.
Right.
It's easy for me to stand here and say we do train our staff that if there's loud music, we also want other individuals who are vacuuming their cars to have a pleasant time.
Mm-hmm.
And if that music is not creating the environment we want, we do play music
That's
for our
great.
site
Yeah.
at a reasonable level, that we would have our staff trained to ask them to please lower their music.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we all good? Okay, for the second one, so did everyone get the questions answered for both the 32156 and 32157?
No.
No, Mayor, you've only heard the first
First
case.
one.
You
Only got the
have to
first.
rule on the first case.
Let's go on the first one, guys. Move forward? Okay, move forward.
And so, just so that I'm clear, moving forward with it will allow the plan board to make those additional considerations, right? All of them as to address the traffic study, the
Yep,
noise
that's correct.
complaints, the masonry wall, and perhaps a
Correct.
good neighbor agreement. Okay.
Yes, as part of the final plan, all of those can be considered by Plan Board when making the approval for that.
The other thing that I will ask too is that, if I may, please, Your
Please
Honor,
go ahead.
is that we want to make sure that Express Car Wash is a longstanding partner in our community, but also that we don't, heaven forbid, that something was to happen to the operations itself and that we don't get stuck with an eyesore in the community. So having something in place that eliminates the responsibility for the city of Dayton to now become the property owner with keeping up the maintenance or even removing the site itself. So making sure that that's clear. Again, we've seen that throughout our communities with Rite Aid and Walgreens, and so we don't want to become, get in the business of taking ownership of those various structures. So,
Of course not.
thank you.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're moving forward with this one?
Yes.
The pleasure, Commission?
Yes.
Move
Okay.
forward.
The legislation implementing zoning case number PLN 2025-00182 will be ordinance number 32156-25. The ordinance will receive a first reading only. First reading ordinance number 32156-25, amending the official zoning map to establish plan development 191 for 1.8 acres at 2922 Linden Avenue. And that concludes the legislation for that public hearing, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll continue with the next one.
I call forward Ms. Jen Hanauer to present the second case.
Okay, welcome back.
Oh, thank you. It's been far too long. So looking at our second case, there's going to be a lot of similarities here, but again, some important differences. So this is at 1158 Wilmington Avenue. Their request had been for a plan development and also a final plan review. They are able to make those applications at the same time, which they did in this case. Also, there is an existing plan development there, PD 087, which was established in the 90s to accommodate the Rite Aid that is there now. That would be removed as part of this process and replaced with a new plan development. So this is for Flying Ace Car Wash, again, zoned ENC, Eclectic Neighborhood Commercial. We're in Belmont, still in Southeast. So this is a look at the zoning map. Again, you see that pink, that eclectic neighborhood commercial. The hatched lines that you see over the subject property, that's that existing PD 087 that it was established for that Rite Aid. And then you can see to the north and the east, those residential uses in ER4. That's Belmont. And then across the street to the west, we have Patterson Park and Schroyer Park. So this is kind of at that node where all of these come together. And then you have Brighton Strader Square to the south. So this is an oblique view so that you can see how the existing building that would be adapted into the car wash kind of sits on the property. It's location relevant to the residential uses immediately to the north and the east. This is just a look at one of the Sanborn maps from the 1950s. This shows how the corner used to be more split. There were commercial uses there along Wilmington and Patterson, but the northeast part of the block was residential. And then that changed and the whole block became commercial, and it's been different things over the years, a restaurant and bar for a time. You can see in this image, well, maybe you can see it, there was a filling station there at one time. So this has really been an active corner in Dayton for a long time. So this is a look at the site plan, very similar to what you were looking at with the other case. The vehicles would enter the property, come around the building to the south where they would get in those queuing lanes, go through the kiosk, enter the car wash from the right, from the east side, exit on the west side, and then have that option to go to the outdoor vacuums or to return inside the building to use the indoor vacuums. There is an ATM on the property right now that's active that it would be proposed to be removed. That's currently on the east side, kind of where those kiosks are now. Okay. So this overview is going to look very similar to the last case. The building, just a little bit smaller than the other building, and the site at 1.559 acres is just a little bit smaller than the other site that we were looking at on Linden. Everything else is very much the same, operating hours, kind of the history with Express Wash Concepts. This slide is exactly the same. So the same idea. This is eclectic neighborhood commercial. There are uses that would be permitted by right that could go into this building tomorrow and not need this process. And again, this site plan would meet all of our requirements for a car wash if this site were zoned differently. The plan development standards would be very similar to what you just saw with the site on Linden. Small differences, maximum lot coverage of 50%, again, trying to maintain that existing green space and trees that are already there. Minimum of 24 off-street parking spaces as depicted on their plan. Same kind of idea with the pylon signs, removing those and replacing them with monument signs, as other new developments have done in that area. The Walmart Waffle House across the street, and then the self-storage a little further south on Wilmington. They've done those monument signs, so that's the kind of development we'd like to see along there. Again, recommending a 6-foot-high masonry wall. That was actually part of the PD that's there right now. It was supposed to be built to screen the Rite Aid from the residential uses across the street. I don't believe that ever got built. If it did, it was removed. Commissioner Joseph saying, no, it was not built. So I'm not sure what happened there, but we are proposing it here. And then we'd also like pedestrian access to the building from the sidewalk network. So because this was a final plan application in addition to the plan development application, we required some more stuff. We needed some renderings. We needed to understand the utility plan, the stormwater plan, the lighting plan. So they submitted all those things. This is a rendering. This is looking from kind of the corner there. Here's a rendering, again, showing it from the south, looking north. You could see the queuing lines, the kiosk. So kind of looks like a Rite Aid building, but adaptively reused to a car wash. Plan board had required, they came to a work session, and then at that point, Plan board asked that they do a traffic study, which they did. Our engineering reviewed it, agreed with everything in there. The biggest takeaway from that was that perhaps our Public Works needs to look at adding a left turn lane from eastbound Patterson onto Revere, and that would the suggestion in the traffic study is that needs to happen regardless of what kind of development happens here. So that was interesting. We had a lot more public comment on this one. For Linden, we didn't have too much public comment from the neighborhood or from the community, from neighbors. But for this site on Wilmington, we did. We had people come to community meetings, to the land use meeting, to Plan Board. We had opposition and support. Most of those in opposition were individuals who live very near this location. And then support, we did have one resident, and then also the different community councils in that area, both Belmont, Eastmont, Hearthstone, and Patterson Park Civic Association sent letters in support of the project. Concerns, as you could probably guess by now, the top of the concerns was noise, but then also traffic, property values, safety, and at this location, specifically for the residents of Lakewood. That's the large multifamily building north of this site. It has a lot of residents who have disabilities, and they use the services, a lot of which are in Brighton Street or Square. So you see a lot more pedestrian activity here. It is very car heavy. There's a lot of traffic that goes through this node. But there are also a lot of pedestrians and those using assisted devices, and a lot of them residents of the Lakewood who are trying to get to the resources south of this location at Brighton Street or Square. There was also a request from the residents who came out to speak saying that they would like more of a community amenity. More than one resident said that they would like to see something here that they can go and enjoy their community with their neighbors, which is not something they could do at a car wash. Those in support, much like you heard with the Linden Avenue case, seeing the activation of a vacant building would be excellent for the neighborhood, especially at this very busy node where a lot of wonderful changes have been made, and it's really coming up. The Waffle House across the street is very nice. Like there's just a lot of movement on this area, and it would be nice to see that building activated, see the landscape improved, see the dead trees taken down and replaced with new trees. So that we had a lot of input from our neighbors on this one. Again, it went to Southeast Land Use Board, discussion very similar to what we heard with the Linden Avenue case. It was it wasn't a unanimous recommendation for approval, but they did recommend approval of it. Again, citing mostly this big investment, this opportunity to have a use that would require a planned development so that we'd have a little more control over what would go in there and how it would go in. I put this in here again about the other municipalities, but I kind of double dipped. I only went out to them once, but and then Plan Board, they really had to weigh the benefits of this investment versus putting a very intense automobile-oriented use here in an area where it's kind of a pedestrian-dominated street. So they had to weigh those two things and ultimately unanimously decided to recommend denial. So that kind of changes your decision options here. Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Sorry. If you determine that you will proceed with the first reading for approval, because Plan Board recommended denial and the applicant essentially is appealing their decision to City Commission, it would require 4 votes to kind of pass that bar and move forward. You could also determine not to proceed with the first reading, which would effectively let the application die and be a denial. Or you would also, of course, have the option to remand the application to Plan Board for additional considerations, and that would only require 3 votes. So, can I answer any questions about this one?
Yes, I'm sure. Commissioner Turner-Sloss, questions?
I do. I do have a couple questions. So, again, out of curiosity, I believe I know the answer, but I would like to hear from the attorney as well as the operator operating. I believe I have your title incorrect, but nonetheless, if I could hear from the two of you as to why is there a desire to build both of these sites simultaneously at one time? Is there an opportunity for us to gauge how the first proposed site will go in terms of addressing the noise, the site itself from the residents, and with it being very pedestrian heavy? Just again, would like to know why, in fact, are you all charged with both of the sites at the same time. And from my understanding, this was probably the original, if you will.
This was the original, and I
Yes.
think I started working on it before Halloween of last year.
Okay.
So this one, when it first came, we went to, it is in the corner of 3 different neighborhoods.
Right.
So we met with Belmont, we met with Patterson Park, we tried to meet with Schroyer, but they're not as organized, is my understanding, but we still had some meetings and things like that. And they had their, oh, can you come to our plan board meeting, which is, a month from now, which was fine. But that process, which ordinarily we would probably have been here by December of last year, here we are. I mean, it was just because of the timing. We went to the plan board originally as a work session. We went to the Southeast Land Use. What we were trying to do, which is this is the Rite Aid conversion, this was the first one for this area, is make sure we got as much input that we could, find out what the concerns were, and address those. And initially, there was a lot of concern about water pressure and things like that, and we had to come back with showing, how those things will not be affected and stuff. So the Linden one, I'm not really sure how that came up, but that just popped up more recently.
Okay.
And so I think in the perfect world, Wilmington would have been under construction before Linden ever came before you. But that's just my perspective. I don't know if Joe has any more detail on any of that.
Okay.
No, I think he covered it. Would love to have them separate, but here we are. If I could address maybe just some of the, I don't know if we're at that point now, should I?
No, please.
Some of the
That's what
comments
you're on.
from city
go
staff,
ahead.
just from our experience. One, we've looked at these Rite Aids because when you look at them, if you drive the properties, which we have, and you can go there today, you can see the conditions that they're in,
Yeah.
right? 10,000, 11,000 square feet, plus or minus, is a, not substantial, but it's a big box to fill. So our solution for car washes, we've been able to repurpose them and keep the value for property owners, for all of the cities that they're located in by keeping that square footage there and repurposing it and bringing it back to life. So from a property value standpoint, if you don't like car washes, then you might value that as reducing it. Similar to you looking at a house with a swimming pool, right? I would look at it and say, no, thank you. Someone else values that and says, I love that. Well, I could live next door to the Rite Aid as it is today, and it could sit there for the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years, or it could be redeveloped within the next 12 months and have a beautiful property next door, which we would absolutely work with those neighbors to ensure, which I do have an idea on how to reduce the sound impact even greater. And so we're able to do that. So that's regarding the property values. With regards to traffic and safety, our use is very safe. Our on-site controls are very safe. Customers stay in their vehicles, so we're very cautious to provide signage and site direction. So on-site is not an issue. What I hear is the traffic from a heavy vehicle use. If you look at any of the traffic manuals, so the international traffic manuals, you'll see that the Rite Aid is actually a heavier user. A restaurant is a heavier user. Because their customers don't get out of their vehicle, it's perceived as a car wash being a heavy vehicle user, when in fact, per peak hour, per total day trips, we have less visits. It's just those customers get out of their car. The similarity is that car has to enter the site and has to exit the site. So they have more vehicles coming and going from that site, which create probably a greater safety issue, but I would argue that that's why we have stop signs, that's why we have yield signs, that's why we have signage and signalized intersections. We can't control someone if they're a bad driver, but all the safety measures are in place for a safe driving environment. So a car wash is a safe use. So is a Rite Aid, so is a restaurant. They have heavier usage. It's just our customers don't get out of their vehicle until they want to vacuum. I think that's what I wanted to address, the comments. I know that sound and traffic, so I was addressing traffic and sound. We absolutely do a sound traffic study, which shows that we do have less traffic than Rite Aid. And I'm not sure if it was brought up or not, but I guess both the site plan and the use is being discussed here. I'm very open to having the use discussed, and similar to Linden, to say, hey, let's go back and rethink this, because I think that we can, now that I'm stepping into this project, Linden was my project, I'm stepping into this project, there is a solution there that the sound issue would go away.
As well as,
It's very creative, and I know that's kind of like a big promise here, but it would still, if the neighborhood and the city is not happy with the solution we have from a site plan perspective, this still could be stopped.
okay.
It's just, I would love the opportunity to be able to revitalize this property. We already have you already have dollar stores in the market. Those are your typical reuses of the property. Your Goodwills, your dollar stores, and they're already there. So to ask them to do a reinvestment of a location they already have, and trust me, I live in a neighborhood too. I want to see certain things, but I also, because of my job, understand the economics and finances of it and what will actually happen in the next 12 months. And if approved, I can tell you we would build a beautiful car wash.
Is there in fact a demand? Is the demand there?
Yes, ma'am. We would not look at a location if we were not going to be successful.
Okay.
Again, all we do are car washes, and we have to, every site has to be profitable.
Right, understand. Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Fairchild. Yeah, I thought you were going to show us some information around the sound.
Yeah, I wasn't sure it was my turn yet. I was still waiting for Ms. Hanover to finish her presentation, and then I was going to do that. So.
I'm done too.
Yeah, good. I guess it is my turn. Would you be able to hand those out to them so they can see what I'm talking about? What I have there is just a handout and that we presented to the planning board, and the last page has, Mr. Fairchild, what we were talking about, the noise readings and such, and I will just start with that since that was your question. A reading was taken at if you look on that page, you will see there on Colwick, there's a little white box with a green around it, and that was the ambient sound at that point, which was on average 72 decibels. At the planning board meeting, we had somebody who lives not in that first row of houses, but in the second row of houses come to speak to say that from her back porch, even right now, she hears the traffic on that intersection. And so, and she was there because of the concern of more noise, obviously. I'm not saying she was doing us any favors, but she was just, that's what we have there. Those yellow lines with the distance just show, it's kind of hard to see, but how far away these various spots are. On the lower left-hand corner, that is the vacuum correlator, which gives off about 38 decibels at 30 feet. The nearest residence, 243 feet. So those are not going to create any louder noise than the ambient noise. The big ticket item here, and again, the vacuum, same thing, is the blower. At the end of any car wash, if you've been in a car wash, you know that air comes out and it dries your car. That makes noise. That makes probably the most noise out of everything in here. Our blowers are inside, and they tend to blow out instead of out and around. But nonetheless, the blowers at about 70 feet drop down to the 60-foot decibel. And as you can see, it's 129 feet to the nearest house. I went to that house. I met with the gentleman, and he is here today. And I have to say, when I stood at his house and I looked at the existing Rite Aid, it does not look like this picture. It looks like it's right in front of you. I mean, it looks a lot closer than it is. I know exactly where he's coming from. So do my clients. And one of the things that we were talking about originally is, can we reconfigure this so that this blower is not right here on the northwest corner where it's going to be right by his driveway? And the answer was generally, no, we don't think so. I am told tonight yes, we might be able to reconfigure by making a shorter interior wash lane so that there is no exit there. The cars turn inside the building. So there is no blower coming out in that direction. And that's what we are talking about, is a possibility of reducing the noise considerably. And that is one of the things that we're saying, we're willing, permit the use, we'll go back with the planning board, we'll work out these details. Prior to this, what we did at the plan meeting is we presented a proposal where we moved the curb cut, because it's right in front of his house, shifted it down. And when I went to his house to explain that to him, he was very thankful, but said, all you're doing is shifting it down to my neighbors, And I said, well, there's not as much noise there. And he goes, yeah, but now you got traffic there, and I'm going to be the bad guy, But I'm not saying he made points, And so that's why we relooked at this thing, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we think we can do. I do want to, if I can, just kind of go through my 3-minute presentation, and that is this property, as you saw, has been commercial since the 50s. In portions. And as we've heard, and again, there's at least 6 meetings that we've had with various boards, is that there has always been friction between the property owners and the commercial. There were bar fights. There was lots of noise. There was illegal parking. There was people sleeping in the parking lot. There was cutting through the parking lots. There was all sorts of stuff. No matter what goes in there, because it's commercial, you're going to have friction. What you have now is the opportunity to control what goes in there. Not another dollar store, not something that not a bar, microbreweries, everyone loves those, till 2 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to sleep. And so you have the opportunity to say, since this is a PUD, what can we do? Well, you're dealing with somebody who's putting $4 million in this site. Lots of landscape. I think robust was the term that was used by staff. So we have millions of dollars invested. The robust landscape. This time, pylon signs, gone. Monument signs, fine. No argument. That was something that the Southeast Land Use Board asked day one. Day one, that's what we agreed to. We're willing to make the perimeter more walkable. We did along Patterson by getting rid of the curb cut. If we need to do anything on the sidewalks along Wilmington, let us know. That's what we'll do. If there's, could use a bus stop right there, let us know, because that's what we do. We are not here to try to make things difficult. We are here to try to make things workable. Again, responsive, responsible owner. And one of the things that I heard a lot was, we don't need a car wash. If you ask me, I would say, I don't need a car wash. I have a 16-year-old son. He washes my car. I don't need a car wash. I don't want a car wash. But if you look around, there's a lot of car washes, and there's a lot of desire for car washes. And we got a lot of support, notwithstanding the neighbors who rightfully don't really want this in their backyard, but the neighborhood groups, the Schroyers, the Belmonts and stuff, they all want this because that is a use that they want in their area. And so, what we have is the people at the plan board say, I don't think it fits right, but everybody who lives there saying, yeah, we do want this. This is a use. This is an amenity to me. It's not an amenity to you maybe, but to me, the person who lives in the area, this would be an amenity. Now, there's terms that we've heard, intense traffic and heavy traffic. Those are words that have come from lay people. The traffic engineers looked at this, approved by the city, and that is on one of the pages there. The minimal impact on the overall traffic conditions. The one thing they needed was a turn lane. They said, we need that anyway, but we need that, and we said, we'll put it in. That's fine. We'll put. It's not building a turn lane, mind you. It's making the markings for the turn lane. So we'll do that. The noise, I'm not going to go in that because I think we may have found a solution to the noise. Notwithstanding, the ambient noise is pretty high. We're not going to be adding to it very much. I don't think this is a good site for this use. Really doesn't cut it when you think of we get to control this use. We get to design this use in terms of landscaping. The traffic is not going to be, according to the experts, any worse than it is right now. The noise, it's pretty loud right now, and they're doing things, putting trees up, mitigating these types of things. So, we do think this is a good fit for there. The difference between this and Linden is we have directly across the street some people, and they don't want anything there, other than something that would, each one of them might want something different. But they live across the street from commercial property. Something's going to go there, and at least this is the way they can have control. And if we go back to the board, planning board, they will be there. They've been to every meeting so far. We'll work with them. And so we just ask that you consider this, pass this, so we can kind of get rid of the mattresses and other things that are lying around in the parking lot in that site, and make it something that the neighborhood wants and that the city can be proud of.
Okay. Mr. Shaw? Question?
I'm good.
Good. Question?
I have things to say.
Yes.
As you can imagine, I live just a couple blocks that way. I was almost on the other map. So there's a number of things. I appreciate your willingness to take a look at this again. I think probably, without speaking for my colleagues, we're probably going to remand this to have some more conversation. But I just want to say that it means a lot that the closest groups to the area support it. Southeast Land Use, Belmont East, my Hearthstone neighborhood, Patterson Park. The people that really care about the neighborhoods and they pass it unanimously or almost unanimously. The opposition has been, they don't want this, like you just nicely stated, but I think what people have to understand is the comparison isn't between the car wash and your dream. It's between the car wash and what other things are possibly or likely to go there. And that's the comparisons that we have to deal with, because it's reality. And you made that case a moment ago, and I appreciate that. The new wall, if there's a new wall to the north or whatever new sound arrangements, I think there's a good possibility there. The actual contour of the land is also good for that, because there's a slope up right before there anyway. So it's going to make a 6-foot wall a 10-foot or 12-foot wall effectively, because the land goes up. And there's plenty of space to the north for landscaping. There's already some pine trees and nice things there. So you can just add to what's there. That's very good. The last thing about folks using that corridor to get to the grocery store and to the Waffle House and everything, that's true. Right across the street to the south there on that drawing, they do use it. But I would argue this is not a pedestrian-heavy corridor. I mean, it is cars all the time. And the fact is, there are ways to walk around if you want to get somewhere, a lot of places. And I would say, if you agree, as it sounds like you have, you're taking out the curb cut on Patterson, which makes it easier for pedestrians. If you're going to maintain the nice wide sidewalk in Wilmington all the way down, that makes it nice for pedestrians. Depending on how you stripe the street, there may be a way to make even the Patterson side, the East Patterson, easier for pedestrians to cross. I mean, there might be a way to do that. I know we have very smart traffic engineers. There might be a way to make it easier for pedestrians there. But there are cars going through all the time. So people are used to dodging cars. It's not a new thing. If it's a little bit more traffic, I mean, speaking for my family, we're fine. We're fine. Car wash is not exactly what we would have thought would have gone there, but it is so much better than the other potential uses that would be likely to go there. And it gets rid of an empty building that we don't want at the city. We don't want to have to take control of eventually because it's crappy or people are inside it or burnt down or something like that. So, like I said, I guess I'll be quiet now. But I just want to make those statements. I appreciate your efforts. I really appreciate your efforts to work with neighbors. I've seen it. I was there at a couple of different meetings, and it was nice to see that back and forth and actually listen to neighbors' concerns and addressing them. So thank you for that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, good. A lot. I think my colleagues have, shared a lot of concerns that the citizens have talked about as well. And the options, again, looking at the referring back to the plan board, I think is something you guys have agreed to as well, potentially.
On the final plan, what we're hopeful is that the preliminary gets approved today, the rezoning, and then we can work on the final plan for the details, as opposed to sending everything back. This is what our ask would be.
Let's see what
What
are your recommendations?
I'm sorry. We want to make sure that the things we're hearing now still have time to happen, that we still have leverage to make sure they happen.
Sure, and this one is slightly different than the Linden, again, because Plan Board recommended denial, and the applicant essentially had to appeal the decision to City Commission. What you would be deciding this evening, if there was, from what I understand, if there were a super majority vote, it would require 4 votes to move it forward. Even if the PD were to be approved, we would still ask that the final plan return to Plan Board for approval.
Good.
So you won't, there's no scenario in which you would be approving the final plan. In every scenario, it is possible for things to go back to Plan Board and have those final details. Would that help, or that
Yeah,
hurt?
that's exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So what's the pleasure of the commission?
Mayor, there are 2 citizens who registered also to speak on the Wilmington Pike. Derek Stevens. I'm sorry. You just had Dick on here, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's
Name
the
and
I
address
said.
for the
Dick
record.
Stevens, maybe, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Richard Stevens, and I'm here speaking on behalf of my sister in the pink back here, who lives at 925 Colwick Drive. Needless to say, we were very disappointed when Rite Aid closed up and resulting in this abandoned lot. We moved in. It was a nice, convenient place for services. She lives across the street. But please note that this case is very different than the Linden one, like has been said, and it shouldn't be allowed to proceed. On the 13th May, the City Plan Board staff recommended that it be denied, and then again, the City Plan Board itself voted unanimously for disapproval on 10 June. And I support these previous deliberate decisions and base my continued opposition on the safety implications of increased traffic, untenable noise in a typically peaceful residential area, and resulting reduced residential property values. Colwick Drive is a relatively narrow street with no parking allowed. Its non-signal crosswalk that's been talked about at Wilmington is used by a lot of the Lakewood folks from the Lakewood Housing Complex. I saw someone yesterday in his motorized wheelchair going down Wilmington because of all the construction on the sidewalk there. He was forced into the street. Not good. Revere has considerable traffic in the neighborhood, and it's tempered by several stop signs going down Revere heading towards Patterson. But unfortunately, there's not a 4-way stop at the intersection of Colwick and Revere. And you have to look between parked cars that are right at that intersection to see if anybody's coming down towards Patterson, and there's just an accident waiting to happen in the existing case right now. But please note that there's also a stop sign at Revere and Patterson, and it's backed up with existing traffic right now. There's a lot of houses that feed off of Revere. And if there's a car attempting to turn left onto Patterson, it's backed up often due to the traffic there, and also from the intersection in prime hours from Patterson and Wilmington back where you can't even get out of Revere. So there is traffic there. I don't know when the engineer was there, but in real life when you're there, you see it. So if you've had any operations in the many flying aces around town, and I use them. I love flying ace in a normal spot, but you'll know the neighborhood traffic will be considerably increased, especially during those peak hours and on weekends. My 76-year-old sister moved to Dayton in 2020, and she selected her home based upon it being safe, a peaceful location that could accommodate her and her German Shepherd. She can sit on her front porch in the mornings, drink a cup of coffee, or in the evenings and sit and enjoy a glass of wine and conversations with her friends and neighbors, just like you do at your home. But one of the main reasons car washes typically are located in large commercial lots is due to the loud noise generated. And the constant blowing of the drying fans, the noise of the outside vacuums, the site-generated music, which, again, starts at 7 a.m. I mean, that's pretty early for someone that is retired anyway. And then that added customer music, when they blast, they're out there. They don't necessarily like the music playing. They're going to play their music as they do their wheels and all the stuff. So put that commotion in a relatively quiet neighborhood, and her front porch peacefulness is totally ruined.
Thank you for your comment.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Raymond LeBeau.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, please.
Ramon Liebold, 913 Colwick Drive, Dayton, Ohio, 45420.
Begin.
I'm the bad guy. I live directly across from the exit 100 feet to my driveway. where the cars will be coming out. I'm totally against it. I've lived there 54 years. Lost the train of my thought. I went up to the Flying Ace at Myers, not 5 minutes away from my house, sat there 150, 200 feet away from where they was coming out, and it's loud. Them blowers are loud. I sat there and counted the cars. They can do 100 cars an hour. And in the wintertime, they're going to be, and they can stack up 50 cars waiting to get in. They're going to be busy. 100 cars is not a good idea for that small street. 3 cars can only come out of there and they're backed up because you can't get out on Wilmington a certain time of day. Like I said, I've been there 54 years. Colwick is not wide enough. You can barely pass 2 cars. They're trying to turn out there. The other cars are trying to go straight. It's going to be a mess. My front room is only 150, 160 feet away where I sit and watch television. And I'm sure that that's going to be a problem. I'm retired and I sit there a lot. So I'm totally against it. It's not a good fit for this. I will hope something goes in there. I've been there 54 years. I've seen them houses get tore down. And that was a big fight when they first put it in. But I was all for it because they was going to use Sackstedter's and Bruns's Bar and the gas station is going to get rid of all that. I loved the Rite Aid. Didn't bother me. But there is a lot of traffic will come out of there, a lot more than people coming in there, getting out of their cars, going in and out. 100 cars, imagine that. Even if it's only for 3 or 4 hours, sometimes during the winter time, that still matters. Where's them 100 cars are going to go? And that is a busy area, very busy. Revere's busy, Wilmington's busy, even our little street's busy. We got buses coming 2 different directions. Okay. We got garbage trucks, we got school buses.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. LeBeau. Mr. LeBeau.
That concludes the citizen comments, Your Honor.
Okay.
Mayor, can
Yes, sir.
we get clarification? It seems like we're voting on a final plan, if I understand the process.
Yes, I'm sorry, this is very unusual today. You will not be voting on a final plan. It's just for the plan development. If you were to vote for approval, we would have the applicant return to Plan Board for the final plan. You're just seeing it this evening because when they made their initial application, they did also apply for the final plan, and both were recommended denial by Plan Board. So when they appealed, that meant that they were bringing them both to City Commission to overturn that decision, but you're not making a decision on the final plan this evening.
Commissioner, your vote, your decision tonight is to create a new plan development that changes the zoning on the parcel that allows for the car wash use. Then, if you do a supermajority vote and get 4 votes to overturn Plan Board's decision, then that new plan development has to go back to the Plan Board for the final plan, which is where much of this negotiation around sound mitigation and things will happen.
But it won't come back before this, or will it come back?
It does come.
It'll come back before us.
The plan development will come back before you.
Okay.
After Plan Board gives an approval or a recommendation for approval.
Okay, got it.
But as always, one of our options is
So it's-
to refer it back to Plan Board.
Tonight, you have to make a decision on the zoning.
The zoning.
And the new plan development is the tool they've used to request a zoning change that would allow for the use of a car wash on this parcel. And then what you're saying is, we are going to change the zoning with a new plan development. But that new plan development hasn't been finalized. So the new plan, or been approved by the plan board. So you're referring, so that work has to still go back to the Dayton Plan Board to review and act on the PD, the new PD that your supermajority vote would create.
And the plan board voted unanimously not
Correct.
to move it forward.
Correct.
And so we would be undermining the plan
Be
board.
overturning, it does happen occasionally, you would be overturning the work of the plan board, and at the same time, that re-engaging plan board around the new potential PD.
Which we still will have a chance to vote
That you
no
would,
if we
that would
choose.
come before you as well. The final plan would come before you as well.
From what I understand,
Yes.
the final plan would not return to
Oh,
City
I'm sorry, I
Commission.
thought the PDs came back before.
A plan development does, that change to the zoning map, but a final plan is decided upon by plan board. That's why you don't typically see them, is because
Oh.
the plan board
Then let's
has
remand it
that.
back.
Yeah.
Let's remand it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I think the
So-
best is to remain.
We'll just remand
Yep.
it
Then if that's, I mean, that way that we will see it again. Does
Right.
that present any roadblocks?
As I understand, that is an option. If this is remanded to plan board, that they would then see the PD again and make another decision on it, and then that would
These
come
excellent
back to
suggestions that
you.
we've gotten here, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Is how I've understood it.
Can you clarify that? I want to make sure that that is a
Sure.
definitive answer. If we could, because, yeah.
Because,
I appreciate that.
yeah,
Thank you.
the applicant has asked for the action on the zoning.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Which
So that's
requires-
the plan development. So what you did for the Linden one, where you're going to move that one forward, that's just the zoning. For that one, they're going to make plans, they're going to come back to plan board and have their final plan approved. This one's a little bit
Different.
messy,
Slows
different.
it down.
So the only way you would see this one again is if it is remanded to plan board
Yeah, let's remand it back.
Yeah.
and they see it again and they make another decision on the plan development, and then it would come back to you again. However, if you approve the use tonight, if you overturn that plan board decision, that plan board recommendation with the supermajority vote, then that means that the zoning has been decided. The applicant would still return to plan board to get that final plan approved, but that would not then
But
come
not
back to you.
us. Yeah, we want it
Yeah,
back.
we want it back here.
We want it back. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, so let's.
we're going to remand it back.
We need a motion to a remand?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we need to come out of?
You want to come
Come out
out?
of here.
Yeah, we come out. Okay. Let's conclude the public hearing. So what's the pleasure of the commission?
Your Honor, I would move that we remand this back to plan board.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay? And probably moving and secondly, we hand it back to the planning board. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay. Thank you. So, Ms. 16, any closing comments?
I think you
We
need to
have
hear from your
citizen
citizens first.
Oh. Man, I thought we did. Okay.
Mayor,
Excuse me, folks, I don't want to, I want to hear what you have to say.
No offense.
Okay.
there are 15 citizens who have registered, and I would like to remind everyone of the 3-minute time limit. I call to the podium Joshua Hastings.
Okay, Mr. Hastings, let me apologize. I didn't want to short-circuit anyone from their comments. Okay? Sure.
Your name and address for the record.
Yeah, it's Joshua Hastings, 303 Triangle Avenue, Oakwood, Ohio.
You may begin.
All right. So I'm here to implore you to propose the safe haven resolution. I understand that I am not one of your constituents, but two of you have seen me active throughout the community. I have a lot of friends and fellow activists, neighbors, people I love and who love me that really want to see this done. And I want to tell you about a personal experience I had earlier this year. I went to the very first trans rights rally that I had ever attended. I didn't know any trans individuals before, and I'm very pleased to say that I do now. And one particular speaker at that rally said something that I can never forget. It was a call to action, or actually, in this case, a call to inaction. The words that came from this person's mouth to the assembled people that day was, "Please don't kill yourselves." This is the scenario that your constituents are in right now. The United States is a mental health crisis. I am passionate on that issue, and I implore you to please do not turn your backs on these fine people. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Rhea? Is it Megan? Your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Rhea Megnan, and it is 2104 King Avenue in Dayton.
You may begin.
And my name's Rhea Megnan. My pronouns are she or they, and I've been a proud Dayton resident for 10 years. I have my license as an independent social worker, and I own Oak and Willow Counseling, which is an LGBT-focused mental health therapy office. And I'm here to support the upcoming Safe Haven resolution when you choose to bring it before the commission. I hope that happens soon. This resolution protects basic human rights for the LGBTQ community, including intersex folks and others under the queer umbrella. These are the most marginalized people in America right now. They are rejected, shamed, and attacked even by other targeted groups because of hundreds of years of religious and political scapegoating. Just a little research and connection with these folks will go a long way in uncovering the mistranslations, the lost context, and the outright lies and slander in God's name used to make us fear LGBTQ folks. Yet it's my clients and loved ones who face the real-life horrors. Most Americans claim not to personally know any trans folks. I guarantee you do. They just might be unknown. But let me share a little of what I hear from them every single day. They're being turned down for jobs or fired because someone finds out who they are. They're denied housing. They're denied loans for vehicles, for homes. They are told that they will be outed by the trusted adults at their school and that they can't read about or learn about who they are there. They're denied health care and treated with contempt and cruelty by those very same care providers. And my colleagues and I are threatened by the gerrymandered legislature of this state with the loss of our licenses if we so much as use the correct pronouns or names for our clients. And the terrorization is so strong, we all fear contacting police or other services or even speaking at this podium tonight. These people are not the threats, but it doesn't have to be this way. You have the opportunity to offer some protection by showing Ohioans that our city of Dayton recognizes the value and validity of queer people, our brilliance, our deep caring, our community leadership. The Safe Haven resolution shows that we honor the will of the vast majority of Americans and Ohio residents and the businesses who help fund our schools, our roads, our libraries, and more, and that we will protect people of all genders and sexualities here. Mayor Mims and commissioners, if you support this, I won't lie, you will face backlash. I have faced it often from extremists who've been lied to and manipulated about these people. I hope you will support this resolution anyway, because when we protect each other against the bullies, and we do it today while we still can, it matters. Thank you for your comments tonight.
Appreciate it.
And if you do get backlash and need some help, come see me at my office. It's a safe haven.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Abigail Williams.
My name is Abigail Williams. I live at 1331 Cherry Hill Drive, Miamisburg, Ohio.
You may begin.
My name is Bee. I'm one of many members of my community who receives gender-affirming care in the city of Dayton, and I'm here today to vocalize my support for the Safe Haven resolution. In the last few years, myself and members of my community have been subjected to more and more hostile legislature. I believe this to be a waste of taxpayer time and money to wage a socio-political war on a population that makes up only 1.4%. This year in our state, we have seen bills introduced that serve no benefit to the community and function only to further terrorize trans and non-binary workers and students. We have seen a ban on diversity, equality, and inclusion programs from our higher education institutions, as well as the gutting of funding to youth shelters that in any way affirm an at-risk youth gender identity. This legislature has robbed students in our universities, educational workers, at-risk youth, and advocacy workers of crucial community resources and services, and we all know that this is just the tip of the iceberg for this legislation. I would like to share some data with you from a recent survey conducted nationwide by the Trevor Project and broken down into state-by-state statistics. It reflects that 43% of LGBT Ohioans reported thoughts of suicide, with 12% admitting to having attempted suicide. 48% of Ohioans surveyed said they have reported feeling like they need mental health services but do not have access. 23% have reported being physically threatened or harmed, and 52% have reported that they wish to leave the state of Ohio due to the hostile political climate here. I would like to ask the Dayton City Commission if they would like this city to be a place that tax-paying citizens feel they need to flee for the physical and mental well-being of themselves and their families, or would you like to see this city be a place where all members of the community can thrive, bolster our economy, fill in-demand jobs with skilled workers, and live beside our neighbors in peace? This resolution gives Dayton the opportunity to set a precedent and send a message that in the face of threats to our citizens' liberties and to our basic safety and well-being, this city and this community rises up to protect its own. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Jordan Ostrom. Your name and address for the record, please.
Jordan Ostrom, 210 Wayne Avenue, Dayton, Ohio, 45402. Genocide. The word evokes images of death camps and mass graves, but not all genocides end in such a way, and never do they start out as such. Genocide is the attempt to destroy in whole or in part a defined group. The state of Texas has decided that providing trans youth with the life-affirming medical care that they need to thrive is akin to child abuse. Such a decree has been described as state-sponsored kidnapping. As Dr. June Bloch, PhD, points out, the forcible transfer of children from one group to another group, even per the conservative parameters of the United Nations definition, constitutes genocide. As our own state of Ohio attempts to follow in the dark directions of states like Texas and Florida, it is up to our leaders, including our local leaders, to stand up and fight back. For those who might say that my broaching the topic of genocide is hysterical, for those that disagree with the academic, degreed expert whom I cite, I would say the time to fight back against legislative actions with genocidal intent is when it's too early, not when it's too late. I am here today to ask that our local leaders demonstrate moral courage and urge the mayor and commissioners to propose the Safe Haven resolution for our LGBTQIA+ neighbors. An injury to one is an injury to all. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Elizabeth Hudson.
Elizabeth Hudson, 120 West 2nd Street, Dayton, Ohio.
Maybe good.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, Clerk, for this chance to speak tonight. I'm an attorney for advocates for basic legal equality. ABLE offers free legal services for qualifying individuals and groups within 32 counties, including Montgomery County and Dayton. I represent a collective who's worked collaboratively for months to put together this safe haven resolution that many are talking about tonight. It will declare Dayton a safe haven for LGBTQ+ people. Many members of the collective have talked for themselves and other supporters, but I want to talk a little and advocate for its adoption on behalf of those who are too scared to be here tonight and give their address publicly. It's not hard to understand why someone would feel that way. You've hopefully watched the news, but it's unfortunate to see attacks against Q+ individuals coming from so many government officials right now, and this emboldens bigotry in our community and others. Support for the Safe Haven Resolution is a declaration that bigotry does not belong in Dayton. Dayton's home for many who need a safe haven right now, who need a government that stands with them and their right to equal protection. This resolution will affirm your support and the rights of the Q+ community to feel safe here. Q+ welcoming organizations and businesses in Dayton are safe havens for many in the region. We ask the city to acknowledge this publicly and let Q+ people know that they're welcome and valued here. You all, including the city law department, have received copies of a community-drafted safe haven resolution through your email. It's modeled after other Ohio cities that have declared support. We wouldn't be the first to do such a thing, but we would be among the first to pass or adopt such a resolution, affirming safety, dignity, value. This is why you need to pass this resolution now. It declares that Dayton is a city that stands with our Q+ community and neighbors. Not only that, but it'll show that the city values community engagement by affirming the dozens of voices that have helped shape this resolution and the hundreds of individuals who have signed petitions supporting it as well. You've all, or many of you, have expressed commitment to the Q+ community, both from your seats there, and I've seen many of you at Pride this year. In fact, the majority of our commissioners at Pride, as well as you, City Manager Dickstein, you showed up for the Q+ community there. A majority of commissioners is all it would take to pass this resolution. So we're requesting that you do that and give voice to this community that's been under attack. Please don't wait any longer. On behalf of those not here today and able and this collective, thank you so much for letting me draw attention to this, and I hope you'll pass this soon. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Yusuf Alzain.
Good evening. My friend AI said that we have 240 car washes in Dayton, by the way.
200. Name and address
I
for
don't
the
know if you know
record.
AI, but he's a good friend. My name is Yusuf Alzain, 4906 Amberwood Drive, Dayton, Ohio. The pain and anger we're feeling today from Gaza is not just a personal sentiment, but a collective cry that echoes across generations. We are witnessing in real time a genocide, the devastation of what used to be flourishing cities, the intentional starvation of children, the loss of innocent lives, and the displacement of millions of people that are most vulnerable population. And yet, they are met with silence, inaction, and a deafening lack of accountability from those who claim to uphold justice and human rights. Where is it? As leaders, it's your responsibility to recognize the inherent value of dignity of every human life. The life of any Palestinian child is as valuable as your children and your grandchildren. The status quo is unacceptable, and it's time for bold action. We urge you to use your position of power to amplify the voices of the marginalized, including the Q+, as you see it today, to challenge the system of oppression and to demand justice and accountability for those who wield power. We will not be silenced, we will not be deterred, and we will not give up. We'll continue to organize, to mobilize, and to demand better future for the Gazan people and to our Q+ community in Dayton and in the nation. The question is, will you join us? Or will you perpetuate the silence and the complicity that allows injustice and crimes against humanity to thrive? The choice is yours, but know this: the eyes of the world is upon us, and the fate of our Palestinian people hangs in balance. We expect more from our leaders, and we demand action, not just words. Recognize the struggle of others, particularly those facing systematic oppression and violence, can indeed provide perspective and help reframe our own challenges. I urge you to support the Safe Haven resolution as well, even if you want to remain silent on Gaza. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Alec Johnson.
I'm Alec Johnson. I live at the Woodman Park apartment complex in Dayton's Eastern Hills. I'm a member of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and these remarks reflect party sentiments. We want to thank the mayor and city commissioners and Montgomery County commissioners for an act of courage that hasn't received sufficient acknowledgement or gratitude. We learned in recent weeks the Dayton area, thanks to our city and county leadership, is refusing to participate in the so-called 287G program available under new federal law that warps local law enforcement, morphing it into jackboot Gestapo units for ICE. This means that our immigrant friends and neighbors are somewhat safer in the Dayton area thanks to the brave and principled stand leadership has taken. In stark contrast stands the shameful conduct of the Butler County officials, most notably Sheriff Richard K. Jones. Jones is an arrested adolescent and a Klansman without a hood who has devoted himself to ICE's reign of terror. He found it funny to publish photos of inflatable alligators floating in front of the Butler County Jail. This jail holds many ICE detainees, including a recent high school grad and local soccer star. Even more famously, Imam Ayman Solomon, former chaplain at Cincinnati's Children's Hospital, is in this jail instead of being allowed to do his job consoling sick children and their families. Imam Solomon fled Egypt for fears of his life and fears for his life if he returns. But this is all so many inflatable alligators to Sheriff Jones. Public servants and the public understand that civic success can't result from having low goals. It wouldn't take much to surpass Butler County, and circumstances required that we set our sights much higher. We've witnessed with great admiration the city of Dayton standing up for immigrants. The terror campaign the White House is directing against the immigrant community is formidable and frightening, and frightfully well funded. But not only did the city of Dayton stand tall in the face of that, but our local school board refused to cave to budgetary blackmail to the tune of $30 million of the White House's anti-DAA culture war campaign directed against them. Attacks on the trans community comprise another front in this fascist culture war, with shocking parallels going back to Nazi Germany. Just as Dayton has stood tall before, it must do so again. A coalition of concerned citizens has submitted a safe haven resolution that we implore the commissioners to adopt at the earliest opportunity. Doing so would be entirely consistent with the principled stands city leadership has already commendably taken. Fascism is proceeding on many fronts and must be resisted on every one of them. The Safe Haven Resolution is at once an important protection for this vulnerable community and a way of fighting back, a tool for resisting these and other attacks on the working class in this country. Do your part to bend the arc of history towards justice, and we the people will do ours. We the people will do ours. Let's begin to turn this country around. Let Gem City shine brightly in this way to inspire other communities to stand up and fight back. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments, sir.
Moss Dickey. Name and address, please.
Moss Dickey, 116 North Johanna Drive in Centerville, but I will soon be moving to 531 Belmont near the Art Institute, so I'm very excited about that. I'm here today to ask that the city propose the Safe Haven Resolution. In a time of growing hate, discrimination, and fascism, it is the duty of decent, kind, and rational citizens to provide hope and safety for those most in need. I am a trans woman. I came out a few years ago, and I would like to tell you the story of how I came out to myself, the most important person I have come out to. It was a day like any other, except I was confused and didn't quite know what I was going to do with the day. So, like I was doing in that time, I drove around until I found one of our lovely parks. I must commend everyone on the city parks. They are amazing around here. And I walked around, stuck in my head and my own thoughts, trying to figure out what was bothering me. And on the shores of a small creek/river, I finally figured it out. I was a trans woman, and the sheer weight of that fact was crushing. In that moment, I nearly killed myself. I nearly hurled myself into a river to avoid the pressure and heartache and just general discomfort that would come with the fact of being a minority like a trans woman. But fortunately, as you can see, I did not. I stepped away from that river and I continued my walk. And for the past few years, I have been receiving HRT, hormone replacement therapy at Equitas, just in this amazing city, and it has meant the world to me. For the first time in my life, I like myself, I like the life I am leading, and I no longer hate seeing myself in a mirror and can look myself in the eye. It means the world to me that Dayton has had the facilities to provide for me a life of dignity and a life of peace. Not everyone has that, especially in rural communities around Ohio. And in these rural communities, more now than ever, children and teenagers are facing harm from home, school, and religious facilities. It is demonstrable. It is heart-wrenching what these children have to go through. I did not have to go through that because I did not know what being trans was at the time. But had I known, it would have been an unbearable weight. And I'm just glad that I realized later in life when I could transition myself. I implore you to please consider this resolution. It means the world to people like me to know that our local officials are standing with us and not against us. It means that we can walk out in the street, our heads held high, and live in a community that values us, not in a community that despises us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Dickey.
Lynn Lamance.
Lynn Lamance, 1061 Bertram Avenue, Dayton, Ohio.
Good evening.
Okay, I'm going to speak on, from the Fairview neighborhood, I'm going to speak on the Phoenix Project, Phoenix Next, Phoenix Police. Basically, just to give you an idea, there was an incident earlier this week involving a neighbor. There's basically a drug house on Auburn. And I had forwarded this information to the Phoenix Police. Still going on. Basically, an elderly neighbor had to approach the drug dealer. There was an issue. The police were called. And basically, an elderly neighbor of mine was arrested by the police instead of the drug dealer. And I'm talking about methamphetamine and fentanyl. I've conducted the neighborhood meetings now for a while, and basically I wanted to get information regarding, specific information regarding the Phoenix Police. Living in Five Oaks, I thought Fairview, it was very well together. Things were getting done. I did forward this information to Citywide and also the Dayton Police. Dayton Police have provided no information. Citywide said she would get back to me, our worker Jasmine, but since the city manager also sits on the Phoenix Next board as well as the Citywide board, I thought I would make an appearance here. But basically, there is, it doesn't appear that there is Phoenix Police. We have them come to a meeting. They are not visible. I did see them on Ellesmere today. But basically, I have information. The city manager's report, November 29th, 2023, where $246,000 is approved from Premier Health to the city of Dayton for Phoenix Police. This is associated with specialized assignment of 2 full-time community-based police officers. I also have detail from December 20th, 2022, where it states daytime and nighttime community-based police services in the former Good Samaritan Hospital portion of the neighborhoods. I would like to know what documentation shows they're actually in my neighborhood. This also further states that there are invoices with detail each 30 days submitted. Premier Health is supposed to have this information. The city will prepare and submit monthly reports to Citywide. I would like to have that documentation. This is supposed to be supplemental police over and above the service levels of normal police. So when neighbors tell me a lot of the responses will just call the police, why do we have the Phoenix Police? It also states if there is any changes that the city... Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Annette Gibson Strong.
Hello all, I'm Annette Gibson Strong and I'm here about the 115 Rehab Center.
State your address for the record.
My address is 437 Hopeland Street, Dayton, Ohio, 45417. Okay, I fought, and the antique man, I fought down here at the city to not put up the 115, the rehab, the problems it was going to cause. Well, they have allowed 115 to buy up all our properties, all our abandoned homes, and all of that, and now they're closed. And I fought, I'd like to know why they closed, but I know it was the state is trying to sell that house for $100,000, so I'm sure that the state, they done took it back, so there's something fraudulent in there. I'd like to know because I fought for it so hard to save my neighbors. Now, all of a sudden, they done, it's got to be some fraudulent because the state took all of the properties that they built. The building, the house, right in front of my door, they ain't put nobody in them because they closed them down. And they put them all out down there. And I fought for that. I'd like to know, being a homeowner, well, fighting, I'd like to know. Nobody's told me anything. And the streets, the buses were supposed to come through our streets. Our streets has just got big holes. They fill them in, but they was allowing the buses. I got the buses stopping, and that was temporary for them to enter the back of the job center while they was doing that construction. Well, that was not temporary. That gate is wide open, and they've been using it for years, and it's tearing up our streets because of the traffic. And they not doing nothing about the traffic. They put the electric pipe, they put the new pipes in the ground all around us. They didn't come down Hopeland. You know, why we can't get new pipes? Them new pipes on the next block gonna blow out our old ones, and then we gonna be stuck paying that. I don't feel that fair. If you're gonna do it, you do the whole neighborhood. They went around the neighborhood. They didn't come down Hopeland. I just had to have Commissioner Turner-Sloss get us a corner ramp going out to the corner. And there was a lady that lived in a wheelchair right there, been living there 30 years. But they are doing nothing. I want to know what happened at the 115 because I fought, I lost sleep behind this. I fought y'all tooth and nail. And then it's all closed down and nobody's saying nothing to me. I own 2 properties there. I feel like we wasn't notified when they put it up, so it ain't gonna be no different. And they put that house up. We didn't know nothing about that house until y'all came to the groundbreaking. And we lived there. I own 2 properties there. We knew nothing. We were notified about nothing. And it's just unfair. Our streets is tearing up because the job corps, the job centers, traffic is coming through, is snatching up our ground. They filling them in, they snatching them back up. But that was supposed to have been temporary also. I was down here about that. That was supposed to have been temporary. They stopped the buses from going through, and the cars could go to the job center. And it's still the same thing.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Ms. Gibson-Strong.
Ethan Vatspark?
Sorry, my handwriting's kind of strange.
Name and address for the record.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Ethan Vandenberg. My address is 8317 Washington Village Drive. I'm a proud member of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, speaking in support of the Safe Haven Resolution. Too often, Q+ people are discriminated against, face violence, and are increasingly isolated. Dayton has a proud history of community members speaking up for one another, one of resilience and determination. We should be thinking about how this resolution is more than just a policy. It is about the well-being of our people to make Dayton a place where everyone feels safe and can express themselves. The real harm is when we let fear and stigma come from outside of our communities and let it dictate how we treat our own people. Letting discriminatory laws victimize our community sets a precedent for more attacks and ways in which we can be divided and alienated. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reminds us that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Our city must affirm that the people come first, above discrimination and division. We want to send a clear message with this resolution proposal that our city is a place of justice and solidarity. The Equal Protection Clause, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and the Ohio Constitution all guarantee equal protection for all, but those aren't just rights on paper. They're ones that have to be fought tooth and nail. The mayor and the commission need to reaffirm that their combination of discriminatory laws is not only harmful to the mental well-being of Q+ people who come and visit our city, but for those who live here. We shouldn't be making our communities live in fear of persecution or further alienation for trying to live and express themselves. The city of Dayton urgently needs to commit to reviewing and updating its policies to promote the safety and privacy of Q+ individuals and to set a precedent of inclusivity and community strength. To remain silent in such a moment, as laws and policies that once expanded the rights and freedoms of Q+ individuals are rolled back across the country, is to let injustice win. Passing this resolution would affirm that the city of Dayton would not use its resources to persecute or prosecute our neighbors and family and be complicit in inhumane discrimination. We have the chance to show people that fear and prejudice will not dictate the future of our city. This resolution isn't the final answer, but a powerful step in the direction of building a community we all deserve here in Dayton. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Darrell Lee.
How y'all doing? Good evening. Darrell Lee, 1903 East 3rd Street, Dayton, Ohio, 45403, apartment 19. Okay, I'm going to go again and speak on my life. My life, I've been shot 12 times. I got 2 bullets still in my head. My temper be hurting. I catch migraines every day. I barely can boo-boo. I barely got an appetite. So this guy deserves 18 years in prison. For my life, I'm bound to die any day. Second, the life is for my kids. We all have kids here, especially good fathers like us or me, you know. Sorry, I'm just...
Take your time.
Evidence 1, stating Happy Father's Day. Dear Dad, Happy Father's Day. I want to go back home with you. Your life is so much better, and I pray every day. I want to go back home. I hope we go back home next month. Evidence 2, I'm holding up in my right hand. Second daughter, Happy Father's Day. I love you so much. I would never forget about you. You, my best dad. You are a great dad. Now, I'm going to talk about the public and the safety of my life. I'm a U.S. citizen of United States of America. I got this evidence stating in my hand. I used to work at Patrick Staffing. I was a U.S. citizen. I was living at Gateway Shelter. I was living downtown Dayton homeless for 3 years. Public housing, hub housing, you guys pay for money. Don't help good mans that go to work every day and provide for themselves. Evidence 3 or 4, I guess. 4, sorry for the misunderstanding. Evidence 4, I'm holding up in my hand. This statement and docket shows that this young lady tried to kill me with a 9mm a year after my mom passed here on Gettysburg, which the law don't provide or help. Dayton police, they take you into custody, whoever do the right thing and stand up for what's right. Now, let's go back again for you guys paying public houses. These young women getting pregnant, losing their houses, steady getting public by public houses, letting these drug dealers go in there, and Dayton police, the chief police, by the laws giving them open to carry where they can get drug dealers, open firearm, so as the guy who shot me 12 times, that his wife, Jayana Petaway, gave him access to firearm because she allowed to go buy firearm, and I would rather be with my mom in heaven. Dayton, you guys don't care about you as citizens. I'm better die every day. My daughter say, "Daddy, Daddy." How y'all feel if young people like us do the right thing?
Mr. Lee,
not criminals.
Please take your seat, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. No further
It's okay.
questions.
Gilbert Dillard.
Mayor.
Your name and address for the record.
My name is Gilbert Dillard, 5303 Joshua Trail, Dayton, Ohio, 45417. Mayor, staff members. Wow. Celebrate Recovery, RAMCO, Recovery Alliance of Montgomery County. I'm in your backyard, and I want you to know I'm in it. And I've been planning it for 3 years now. This RAMCO thing got passed on to me, and so I'm the head of RAMCO now. And you don't know what we do. RAMCO was organized for community engagement. We want everybody involved in the mental health and substance use issues going on in our county, especially on the west side. We give all our events on the west side. We do two celebrations a year, free to the public. We feed them. We let them have fun. We tell them no family left inside, bring the kids out. And while their kids are having fun, we can have meaningful conversations. We invite all our vendors out, our community resources out, so that our community can get educated on what's available to them. And RAMCO, we're coming up on our second one. I just gave her flyers. If you don't have one, you will have one. But I want you to know that we're here, and we're here to serve our community. We celebrate recovery. This thing was formed during the opiate epidemic. When everybody was dying, y'all was putting them in trailers, right? And they were talking bad about people in recovery. But we stood up and said, people do recover, and this is what we look like. Ain't I beautiful? Hey. We let people know that people do recover and help is possible. So if you haven't been to one of our events, I invite you. Come out and look and see what we're doing and how we're engaging our community. At every event, we have gotten somebody into treatment. Peer support is a big word for me. I'm an advocate for peer support. A person with a lived experience can best help another person with a lived experience. So if you're successful in your lived experience, come get certified as a peer recovery support and help that individual. Because we're all connected to somebody. This thing affects what? 98% of all American families where they're dealing with mental health and substance use issues? So now the help is out here and there's no more secret. We're about breaking that stigma. I'm in recovery and I ain't got no secrets about it. Yes, I know that I had somebody walk by me. This person was 27 years younger than me. And he walked by me for 2 whole years before he told me to get my own program. The word peer support wasn't out then. So now it is. Peer support is the key. Come out and see what we're doing in our community. We feed them for free. We have games out there for the kids. We give bikes away every event, free to our kids that come to the park. So come see what we're doing, have a meal with us. Thank you for listening to Ramco.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Kevin Keller.
Kevin J. Keller, 3922 East 3rd Street, Dayton, Ohio, 45403. Mayor, commissioners, staff. I'd like to start with the fact that it seems that after all the emotion of today's topics, mine seems very minuscule. However, I will try to be brief. Speed and reckless op down East 3rd Street has become a problem, but I have been told by some commission folks that there is change coming. And it's positive change. I'm very happy to hear that because I've been speaking about this probably a year at your meetings.
2 years.
And I appreciate getting thank you. I appreciate getting not only the response from your mouths, but the hands, which means something's about to be done. And I'm talking about this area because our roads are narrow. And not only are people speeding down these hills, they're sideswiping cars. My wife and I had our cars swiped 3 different times because people go down these small roads and they hit people and they leave. You know, they think that nobody's gonna notice. But one of the guys that hit my wife's car turned around, and we got it on video, turned around to check the damage. And he only admitted to it because I went and figured out the damage to other cars in the area and matched his up with the van. We gotta do something about that. Be a community and have more patrols. That would be nice. And fix some of the dwindling streets in these older neighborhoods. And something I don't understand, I'm going to do some research on it, is how Dayton Public Schools doesn't have busing for high school kids. I never understood that. And why are we still haggling about this marijuana? I thought the 62% of people in Ohio thought it was good. Thought it was, hey, it's time. We're adults. And everybody's going through these moratoriums or extending the moratorium. I'm an aircraft mechanic. I can't do it anyway. And I don't want to lose my license. So I'm trying to be responsible that way. But, you know, those that want to do it are in a safe place, that's fine. But I don't understand why our towns are constantly making that harder, a real big hurdle to jump. We've already voted on it as citizens, and it feels our government is taking some of those choices away from us by some of these kind of sneaky little amendments. That's not right. So as far as the express car wash, I get my car washed down there all the time. I really like it. And, you know, I'm wondering if some of these people that are complaining, not in my neighborhood, where does he get his car washed? So I thank you very much. Give the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Keller.
Thank you for your comments.
David Woods.
David Woods, 3230 Lakeview Avenue. Hello, Mayor, City Council meeting. I'm just doing an update. The Chief of Police of Kettering, Ohio, wasted my time. They said that he quote, was on vacation, that he's gonna go ahead and talk to Bernice Newish, that pretty white woman trying to see my dad got slapped and choked by the male nurse, and talk to the male nurse who choked my dad, and the white man trying to witness it. I got a court date. The court's, luckily, in Dayton, I got a court date that they're gonna subpoena her. It will be about a month before she gets a subpoena, but I want him to go ahead and make it easy on me so he could talk to her and then get the other white man chap who witnessed my dad got choked, and then get the male nurse who choked my dad so I can subpoena them all together in Montgomery County Courtroom with Judge Angela Jackson. He don't want to do that. So then I called him about 7 times, and then eventually they say he's going to call Monday. He didn't call Monday. He didn't call Christine McDonald at all. And then they said, well, we can't do nothing about it because that's Kettering Police. I said, no, When I came to y'all city commission meeting, I told y'all that y'all are responsible because I called y'all to help me with my dad, see my dad when I got trespassed, and then y'all got in link with it. So now they're in link with it, but he want to do his job and go down there and talk to him, and I told him to arrest the guy. So I called the mayor there, and I told her I won't complain to her next week. Talk about they don't care about black people because I'm black, they ain't helping me at all because I feel it's a racial thing. And then he gonna be sitting right there, so I don't care if he get mad or don't get mad, because they're not concerned about my dad who served in the Vietnam War, who's a preacher, and he got disrespected. Christy McDonald is investigating Kenner Hospital. Her number is 937-296-2555. The mayor of Kenner, Ohio, her number is 937-296-2416. I asked all the people to call her and complain about chief police doing his job of Kenner, Ohio, and do what I need him to do and quit playing around, because he already said that they're already in link, and so he can do it. And then I asked everybody to call Kenner Mid-Campus Hospital, 937-298-4331, and call for Bernice Newis. The chaplain that see my dad got choked because that mouse choked my dad, and he probably killed other people in there. He choking people left and right, they ain't doing nothing about it. When it comes to, everybody's concerned about doctors and nurses talking about, oh, we don't want them to be a criminal. They are a criminal. My dad is a preacher. He preached for God and Jesus Christ. I respect him more than them. And he served in the Vietnam War. Over here, we've been in major trouble, so I got a major problem with that, and I'm mad every day. And I want millions of dollars for them people. Don't they gonna make me feel better is get a Ferrari and give me a fine looking woman. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Woods.
Thank you for your comments.
That concludes the speakers, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Ms. Dickting, any closing comments?
Yes, I only have a couple, Your Honor. One is just to correct a couple of things. With regards to Phoenix Next and the neighborhood or the community policing, first of all, I do not sit on the Phoenix Next board. That I have a designee that I appoint to the board. Ms. Lamance was correct in that the Premier contract does pay for the community policing because it is dedicated community police officers that are working the Phoenix Next geography. I have been informed by staff that there were multiple attempts by city and citywide staff to connect with Ms. Lamance to try and understand what the issues were and to have a dialogue. Those went unanswered. So the staff will continue to try and establish or facilitate a meeting so there can be some discussion, because the Phoenix Next board as well as the citywide help oversee the community policing aspect. So it's really important that communication happen. And then lastly, just in relation to some of the comments made with regards to Safe Haven, and you all are very much aware that for the last 10 to 20 years or more, the city has been staunch advocates of our LGBT community and very supportive of all of our citizens' rights with regards to regardless of who they love, where they're from, we are very welcoming. And as an example, the Human Rights Campaign Municipal Equality Index, which has been a measure for 9 years, evaluating laws, policies, and services affecting the LGBTQ+ community. The city has been evaluated all 9 years, and we've exceeded 100% because of the work you all have been doing for the last 10, 15, 20+ years. As an example, in 2017, you all passed the anti-conversion therapy ordinance that prohibited that kind of activity within our city. And so I just offer that up as an opportunity or as information. I do believe that the law department is doing some pretty active review of the ordinance that, or the resolution that was provided, and looking at best practices or what other cities have done. That's obviously the first work that has to be done to be able to engage with you all on a direction and get your policy recommendations or your desires. But as soon as the law department is done with that evaluation or that assessment, I'm sure that we'll be back in front of you all getting your input, sharing that information, and seeing what the direction or the pleasure of you, of this body is. But just wanted to update you on that. And that is all I have for this evening.
Okay, good. Ms. Blackshear, any closing comments?
I have none, Your
I
Honor.
have none. Commissioners, closing comments. Commissioner Turner-Sloss.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Dixon, thank you very much for providing more context and for speaking on Ms. Lamante's comments as it relates to the Phoenix Next project and the agreement. And I actually do recall that agreement that was in fact passed in November of 2024. Out of all things, I do remember that. So I really do appreciate you again providing information, and if you would provide us with an update once in fact staff is able to circle back with Ms. Lamans. And then does that also include the suspected drug activity on Auburn when you follow up and have the conversation?
I can get, if we can get some more details.
Yes, thank you. And then in regards to the comments for the Safe Haven resolution, would like to thank Joshua Haystad, Rhea Magneed, and please forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Abigail Williams, Jordan Astrom, Elizabeth Hudson, Yusuf Alzain, Alex Johnson, Moss Dickey, Ethan Vanberg. I really appreciate you all working in community and speaking in regards of the Safe Haven resolution. I will tell you that we are, in fact, as Ms. Dixon has already alluded to, we are, in fact, having internal conversation, and I look forward to working with my colleagues so that we can then, in turn, continue the partnership and work with the coalition of community members to identify a way forward in terms of making sure that all of our vulnerable communities are, in fact, protected, and that includes the protection of our LGBTQ, I can't get it out.
It's okay.
Q+ community.
Q+ is good.
So thank you. So again, I look forward to continuing working with the coalition. Mr. Keller, thank you for being here and for your comments. And again, as already mentioned, your concerns for speeding will, in fact, are on the horizon to be addressed. Mr. Gilbert, thank you for your commitment with Ramco. I understand your event is generally at the end of this month, if I have that date correct, but I'll look forward to reviewing the flyer that you have. Mr. Lee, all the best to you in your continued journey, as well as Mr. Woods. Thank you both for being here. And Ms. Annette Gibson, thank you for raising your your neighborhood concerns as well. And then if we could get some additional information, Mr. Parlett, as it relates to 115. I know there was an article, but it was very vague and there wasn't a lot of detail. So if we can get some information on
Yes.
that's great.
The city manager has made copious notes.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Mr. Parlett. And then I would like to make note, thank you, Ms. Reed. The Youth NFL Flag Football League registration closing soon. The Department of Recreation registration for the Youth NFL Flag Football League closes August 23rd. Ages 3 to 4, $50. Ages 5 to 15, $60. Practice will begin the week of Labor Day at Centennial Field, 504 Helena Street. And registration is now open at DaytonRec.com. And then I would like to also acknowledge the leadership, the committee of all of those who participate, the vendors, the food vendors, the merchandise vendors, all of those who participated in, from my understanding, this is the 59th year, if I have that correct, for the African American Annual Culture Festival, as well as this may be year 5 or 6 for the annual Porch Fest. I may have that wrong as well, but both events were well attended. It was hot this weekend, but that did not stop a number of people. They traveled near and far to the city of Dayton. I met people from all over this weekend, from Springfield, Beaver Creek to Xenia, even outside of the state of Ohio, who actually came to enjoy the number of events between the African American Culture Festival and the annual Porch Fest. So just would like to uplift the work of all of those members and all of those persons who are involved with both events, as well as our city staff. I know that they were working overtime this weekend. And so, again, just really would like to thank all of those who came out and participated in this weekend's events. And I believe that's all I have.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, for your comments. I won't go over all of those as well, but thank you for the citizens who have come and spoken. Want to thank the leadership for the Dayton African American Cultural Festival. It was an awesome event, as always, and the Porch Fest. I have to believe this was the highest attendance at Porch Fest. As I went to every venue, there were streets filled, parks filled. It was a really good event. I think these are we got a lot of gems around Dayton. These are definitely 2 of those. Would like to see when the Ramco event is. I do want people to know that Families of Addicts has their celebration and time of observance on Sunday from 2 to 6 down at Courthouse Square. And so encourage people to come out for that event as well. And that leads into my final comments, is that the city of Dayton has a commitment to all of its citizens. And we value them, respect them, and want to celebrate all of our citizens. And we want to do that work. I want to make sure that, and I believe we have a special responsibility to those who are the most vulnerable. And that includes our Q+ community and people who are trans. So I hope people hear that well, and that we look forward to working with you. And so.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
Well said, Commissioner. Appreciate that. I want to congratulate our city manager, Shelley Dickstein, on being named one of the Dayton Business Journal's 2025 Women Who Mean Business, and it is well deserved. So I know that you do mean business. I appreciate that. I want to celebrate Black Business Month by attending the Greater West Dayton Incubator's Business Development event on Thursday, August 21st, 7:30 to 9 a.m. at 1105 West 3rd Street. I just think that's a great opportunity to talk about and celebrate Black businesses in this community. Also, the annual Growing Black Business Symposium is this Saturday, October 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Downtown Library Opportunity Center. And you can hear from a panel of small business experts as they discuss challenges, give insight, and share resources. So it's a lot of good things happening in the small business community. I heard it was a great event at the Cultural Festival. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there and in town, but I really heard great things about that, and I really want to congratulate all the organizers of that event. It's outstanding.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Joseph.
Thank you, Mayor. My colleagues have had really, you've made most of the points I want to make, but I'd like to look back at the history a little bit if I could. I'm the last one standing.
You are the historian.
2007, I worked with then Mayor McLinn and then Commissioner Whaley. The 3 of us stood up against opposition on this podium and in the community, and we said we value everybody in the community, and we added gender identity, sexual orientation to the anti-discrimination ordinance, and I'm very proud of that. So I want to reassure folks that it is there. It is broad. We made it very specifically broad, so it protected everybody. Yeah. That said, we're going to ask a law department here to review it to make sure that it's still as broad as we meant it, because there's a lot of crazy things happening at the federal level and the state level. But we want to reassure folks, just like the Commissioner said, that we're a city for everybody. We don't care who you love. We don't care where you're from. We don't care what you believe in. We're glad you're here. We want you to have a chance to use your talents and contribute to the community and gain the benefits that come from being in community. So we have, over time, we've evolved. We all support this now. It's not a fight up here. So I appreciate my colleagues' comments. I'll just leave it there. So we're here. We're doing the work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, continue to follow up. Had a meeting with some representatives maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and we talked about this very same issue and talked about the aspect of taking a look at what we have already and seeing if there's any need for any adjustment or modification. But the sentiment is clearly there, and it's painful, just like it was or is still for people of color to walk through life and experience some of the same kind of challenges that you were talking about this evening. Again, Ms. Dickey, I really have moved about some of the comments that you raised. I'm glad that you're moving to Dayton, and thank you for that. But the aspect of looking at all the kinds of concerns that we have, again, as my colleagues had mentioned, is something we've already begun looking into to see what we can do in terms of addressing that, if there's a need to do so. So again, thank you for that. Additionally, I wanted to talk about the Sunset at the Market, which is open this Thursday, August 21st, from 5 until 8, for the community and dining, shopping, live music by the Silver Grass Band. Be sure to visit the Drive Electric Dayton, which is also happening during that same time frame. Also, which will be located out in front and have the opportunity to learn more about electric cars. Additionally, on Saturday morning from 8 to 10, St. Luke Baptist Church will have their annual pancake breakfast. This is very special because I am the person that's providing the world-famous pancakes. In fact, they're called Jeff's world-famous pancakes. So make sure you have opportunity to be in attendance for that. Again, the tickets are just $8, and it goes as a fundraiser for the church senior usher board. It's an annual thing, and I'm sure you enjoy yourself if you're there. I think with no further business to come for this commission, and love and peace for all, and hatred for none, this meeting is adjourned.